Chapter 699. Ning Fan did not directly pluck the 100+ void fragmentation realm human cauldrons that he captured. He already knew that as long as he obtained the token left behind by Fu Linglong, he would be able to inherit the position of the master of the Blood Slave Garden and make all the flower devils in the entire blood world willingly become his cauldron. Since he could deal with the problem peacefully, he naturally would not force himself on the female cultivators of this place. The palace lord's mind raced. She gritted her teeth and really brought Ning Fan to the secret place. She could tell that Ning Fan's strength was above hers. Moreover, he was born to restrain female cultivators. His strength alone was enough to sweep across the entire blood world. Resisting was an unwise move. Since he wanted to go to the secret place, the palace lord would certainly not stop him. If Ning Fan really defeats the ferocious creature in the secret place and obtains Fu Linglong's token, he would become the master of the blood world. At that time, the palace lord would also bring the flower devils of this place to serve Ning Fan and become his cauldron without Ning Fan's command. If Ning Fan was not a match for the ferocious creature and died in the secret place, he would naturally not attack the female cultivators of this place. Why wouldn't he bring Ning Fan to the secret place? What do you think are my chances of becoming the master of the blood world? Ning Fan asked indifferently. 9 out of 10 chances of survival. The palace lord also answered indifferently. In her opinion, Ning Fan was not weak, but he was definitely not a match for that ferocious creature at the life immortal realm. What's your name? Number 1. Is that so? While speaking, the palace lord had already brought Ning Fan to the back garden of the Blood Slave Palace. It was a garden that was sealed by blood marks. The two of them walked to the back of one of the artificial mountains in the garden. The palace lord made a hand seal and the artificial mountain suddenly disappeared, revealing a hole in the ground. This is the place where my master went into seclusion. That ferocious creature is inside. My master's belongings are also inside. The palace lord said indifferently. Ning Fan did not immediately enter the hole. Instead, he used the mind-reading technique to read her mind. After finding out that she was not lying, Ning Fan nodded and said, "Wait for me here." As soon as he finished speaking, his body turned into a ray of light and flew into the hole. The palace lord shook her head gently and sighed. "If you can really bring my master's token out, you will be my master. However, you can't do it. That ferocious creature isn't something you can defeat." The hole was so deep that the bottom could not be seen. After flying for an unknown period of time, he finally stepped on the ground. There was no path on 3 sides, only a 1 zhang tall passageway in front of them. The floor was paved with bluestone, and the walls on both sides were embedded with moonlight stones for illumination. There was an extremely dangerous aura looming in front of the tunnel. 30,000 feet ahead, there is a copper palace. That peak life immortal monster is there. You wait here, I will handle this battle. Luo Yu's voice rang out in his mind. Ning Fan remained silent for a moment. Then, he activated the power of the Yin-Yang locket and released Luo Yu from the profound Yin world. Today, Luo Yu was wrapped in a light pink dress with a white muslin garment on the outside, revealing her beautiful neck and clearly visible collarbone. The hem of her dress was like moonlight flowing on the ground, and it was pulled up more than 3 feet. Her long black hair was casually tied up with a white hairband. He didn't dress up on purpose, but he had an extraordinary temperament. Luo Yu turned her head indifferently and gave Ning Fan an enchanting smile. "Wait for me for 10 breaths." She only needed 10 breaths of time to exterminate the vicious creatures here. Just how confident was she? Ning Fan nodded. He trusted Luo Yu's strength very much. Now that Luo Yu's primordial spirit had completely recovered, she could display a trace of the strength of the true crossing realm. This kind of strength was enough to crush the vicious creatures here. Luo Yu took a step forward and her soft and boneless body suddenly turned into traces of water vapor, dispersing in the air. At the next moment, he heard a shrill roar of a beast coming from the front of the tunnel. 1 breath. 2 breaths. 3 breaths. On the 8th breath, Luo Yu's soft voice came from the front. Silly little brother, you can come over now. So fast. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. With a flash, he disappeared from his original spot. At the next moment, he appeared in a massive copper palace. The four sides of the copper palace were lit with everlasting lamps. The four walls were engraved with murals. At the center of the copper palace, Luo Yu stood elegantly on the head of a gigantic beast. That beast was already dead. Before Ning Fan could see the appearance of that gigantic beast clearly, it suddenly flashed with a bright light and turned into a blood-red talisman. Its spiritual light dimmed. Then, that talisman combusted without any fire and turned into ashes in an instant. Talisman demon. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. If he was not mistaken, the so-called vicious creature in the secret place was a talisman demon. The art of talismans was broad and profound. A powerful talisman master could summon a demon to attack the enemy by simply drawing a talisman. There were also many powerful cultivators who preferred to use talisman demons to guard their abode. Little brother's eyesight is really sharp. This vicious creature is a talisman demon. Luo Yu landed on the ground and flew to Ning Fan's side. Her face was slightly pale. It seemed like killing this talisman demon was not as easy as it seemed. After all, she was just in the form of her primordial spirit. Are you alright? Ning Fan's eyes were filled with concern. I'm fine. I just used the power of my primordial spirit recklessly. I'm just a little tired. It's alright. The stone chamber in front should be the place where Fu Linglong goes into seclusion. I can sense that there is the corpse of a thought fragmentation realm expert in that chamber. Let's use this corpse to resurrect. Alright. The two of them walked forward. After passing through several copper palaces, they arrived at the stone chamber of a secret place. The stone chamber could not be opened from the outside. They could only break it open by force. The defense of the stone chamber was extremely strong. With Ning Fan's current strength, it was impossible for him to break it open. Luo Yu once again used up a lot of the power of her primordial spirit to break the stone chamber. The stone chamber was not big. It only had an ice bed, a bookshelf and a jade table. On the ice bed, there was a lady in blood-red clothes. She was extremely beautiful, but she was just a corpse. The owner of this corpse was the Lord of the Blood World who had fallen 6,400,000 years ago, Fu Linglong. Perhaps it was because of the cold qi of the ice bed, this lady's corpse had not rotted even after 6 million years. There was a stone door in the stone chamber. On the other side of the door was a massive stone palace. There was a massive blood formation in the stone palace. That blood formation was the teleportation formation that led directly to the Eastern Heaven Immortal World. Luo Yu walked to the side of the ice bed and took off the storage pouch on Fu Linglong's waist. Without even looking at it, she directly passed it to Ning Fan. The token of the Lord of the Blood World is most likely in this storage pouch. If you get it, you can inherit the position of the Lord of the Blood World and control this flower devil cauldron as you please. Luo Yu then flipped through the jade slips on the bookshelf. After reading the contents, she sighed softly. They are all anecdotes and unofficial history related to immortal emperors. They are not very useful. It seems like this Fu Linglong wanted to enter seclusion here to become an immortal emperor in the past. Unfortunately, something happened and she died here. Ning Fan also looked at the jade slips and shook his head. None of them were useful. Then, he looked at the storage pouch again. There were many empty pill bottles inside. Judging from the pill fragrance left in the bottles, the pills inside were at least 9th revolution pills. Unfortunately, they were all eaten by Fu Linglong. Cultivation methods, none. Magic treasures, none. Dao crystals, none. However, there was a blood jade token that caught Ning Fan's attention. There was only one word engraved on the token, kill. Just the word, kill, made Ning Fan's expression change. The killing intent contained in the token was very strong. This is, the Elder Token of the Slaughter Palace. Silly brother, you've really picked up a treasure this time. However, this treasure is also a hot potato. Luo Yu looked at Ning Fan with a faint smile. What do you mean? Ning Fan asked with a frown. Luo Yu looked at the blood jade token fondly and sighed. Then, she returned the token to Ning Fan and began to explain the benefits of the token. All the heavenly laws of the four heavens were set by the four mysterious sect. The four mysterious sect was a great force that transcended the four heavens. It included tens of thousands of forces in the four heavens. Among the countless forces, the Western Heaven Jade Pool, the Eastern Heaven Godly Void Pavilion, the Northern Heaven Lost World Palace and the Southern Heaven Purple Mansion Academy were the biggest forces. Old Devil was the deacon of the four heavens. Thus, he was considered as a member of the four mysterious sect. The four mysterious sect was powerful, but it did not mean that they could cover the sky with one hand within the four heavens. For example, in the Eastern Heaven Immortal World, there was the Slaughter Palace that disobeyed the heavenly laws set by the four mysterious sect. The Slaughter Palace was also a transcendent force. It was said that they had Sha Di as their leader and their foundation was unfathomable. The Slaughter Palace rarely recruited disciples from the outside. They would only recruit one disciple every 1,000 years and the disciples they recruited would definitely be invincible among their peers. Every disciple of the Slaughter Palace was a fiendish star that ran amok in the world. The elders of the Slaughter Palace had great authority. With the Elder Token in their hands, they could mobilize 100 true Immortal Realm assassins from the sect at any time. The elders of the Slaughter Palace were not appointed. Instead, they were promoted by killing each other. As long as one could kill the elders of the previous generation and obtain the Elder Token, one would become an elder of the Slaughter Palace. Since Ning Fan had Fu Linglong's Elder Token, he would be considered as an elder of the Slaughter Palace. He had the authority to mobilize 100 true Immortal Realm assassins from the palace. With 100 true Immortal Realm assassins, Ning Fan could wipe out most of the forces in the Eastern Heaven Immortal World. From this point of view, the Elder Token was definitely a good item that was hard to come by. However, if others know that Ning Fan had the Elder Token, there would be countless people who would hunt him down for it. After all, as long as they kill Ning Fan and obtain the Elder Token, they could become an elder of the Slaughter Palace. From this point of view, this token was definitely a disaster. After listening to Luo Yu's explanation, Ning Fan felt tempted but also helpless. Even though this token was good, it was not something that he could possess now. If he runs to the Slaughter Palace now and summon the true immortals to help him with the token, he was afraid that countless disciples of the Slaughter Palace would immediately kill him and seize the token. This token can only be seen but not used. Ning Fan shook his head helplessly. There is another use for this Elder Token. Luo Yu continued. What is it? If you join the Slaughter Palace and take the initiative to hand over the Elder Token, it will be recorded as a merit and you will be rewarded personally by Sha Di. TSK. Sha Di of the Slaughter Palace is one of the top immortal emperors in the Eastern Heaven Immortal World. If he bestows you with the opportunity, it will be enough for you to enjoy for the rest of your life. Oh. This Elder Token also has such a use. Ning Fan looked at the blood jade token in his hand and remained silent for a while. Then, he said, forget it. The use of this token is not something that I care about now. With this token, I can subdue all the human cauldrons in the blood world. That's enough. What about you, little Yu'er? Do you want to be resurrected here with this corpse? That's what I plan to do. I need some pills that can speed up the fusion of primordial spirit and corpse. That's easy. Ning Fan flicked his sleeve and tens of bottles of pills immediately appeared on the jade table beside him. Ning Fan looked at her, wanting to say something but hesitated. Luo Yu's primordial spirit had been completely restored and she had also found a perfect corpse. Moreover, she had pills that could speed up the fusion of her primordial spirit into her body. Her resurrection was finally imminent. If she succeeds in resurrecting, she would probably leave this place. Luo Yu averted her gaze, not daring to look at Ning Fan. She hid the reluctance in her heart deeply. She had to leave this place eventually. She had to leave this place quietly and search for opportunities in silence. She would cultivate to a higher cultivation realm step by step. Countless years later, when her cultivation realm was strong enough, she would avenge her clansmen. Her enemy was too strong. She did not want to bring any trouble to Ning Fan. The grade of this physical body isn't low. If I use this body to resurrect, my cultivation base will certainly recover to the renunciation void realm in one go. However, the resurrection time will be relatively longer. It will take me at least 10 years to completely resurrect. I will seal this secret place and cultivate here for 10 years. 10 years later, come and find me. Okay. Okay. There are many void fragmentation realm human cauldrons in the blood world. If I pluck all of them, my cultivation base will certainly skyrocket. However, I will need a lot of time to cultivate. 10 years later, I will come and find you. Ning Fan glanced at Luo Yu apologetically. Then, he turned around and walked out of the secret place. He knew that because his cultivation realm was too low, Luo Yu did not tell him the things that were weighing on her heart. If his cultivation base was higher, perhaps Luo Yu would ask him for help. Luo Yu let out a soft sigh. Looking at Ning Fan's somewhat lonely back, she remained silent for a long time. When a shrill beast roar spread out of the secret place, the palace master of the Blood Slave Palace was completely dumbfounded. When Ning Fan appeared in front of her with the blood jade token in his hand, the palace master's beautiful face turned pale with fright. Without saying a word, she directly knelt in front of Ning Fan. This servant greets master. Master. As long as Ning Fan obtains this blood jade token, he would be the master of the blood world from today onwards. As for the female cultivators of the entire blood world, they would all become Ning Fan's human cauldrons. On this day, Ning Fan subdued the entire blood slave garden. There were a total of 100,000 female cultivators in the 7 countries of the blood world. All of them had become Ning Fan's human cauldrons. Even though there were a lot of human cauldrons, Ning Fan did not have the time to pluck them one by one. To the current him, plucking divine transformation realm and void refinement realm human cauldrons was almost useless. The flower devils in the blood slave garden were all transformed from the blood burial grass. As soon as the flower devils in this place were born, they possessed divine transformation realm cultivation base. However, because of that, their lifespans were reduced. After Ning Fan became the master of the blood world, the first thing he did was to plant a restriction on all the flower devils in this place. Then, he ordered all the divine transformation realm and void refinement realm female cultivators to destroy their cultivation base and recultivate from scratch. Only by recultivating from scratch could the problem of their lifespans be eradicated. As for the 100+ void fragmentation realm female cultivators, all of them were plucked by Ning Fan one by one. Through plucking, he destroyed their cultivation base and made them recultivate from scratch. After that, all 100,000 flower devils were kept into Ning Fan's cauldron world. The 7 countries of the blood world were all kept into Ning Fan's cauldron world. Currently, the blood world was already barren. Ning Fan entered the profound Yin world alone to enter seclusion. It was the first time he did not have Luo Yu by his side. From today onwards, he would no longer have this woman by his side. After plucking more than 100 void fragmentation realm human cauldrons, the cultivation method of his yin-yang transformation improved to the 3rd and 4th level. One had to admit that the yin-yang transformation was gradually showing its powerful side. For ordinary devil cultivators, plucking a void fragmentation realm human cauldron was equivalent to consuming a void fragmentation realm Dao fruit. It could only increase their magic power by around 1 million units. If converted to magic power, it was only equivalent to 500 units. For some powerful devil cultivation methods, plucking a void fragmentation realm human cauldron might be able to increase their magic power by 2,000 to 3,000 units. However, plucking a void fragmentation realm human cauldron could increase his magic power by nearly 5,000 units. In addition to the divine effect of the ancient god heart aperture, a void fragmentation realm human cauldron was equivalent to 10,000 units of magic power. After plucking all the human cauldrons, Ning Fan's magic power had reached a total of 3 million units. The yin-yang transformation was definitely not something that ordinary dual cultivation devil cultivation methods could be compared to. If he had 1,000 more void fragmentation realm human cauldrons, Ning Fan was confident that he could attain the peak level of the 9 shattering realm in one go. Unfortunately, void fragmentation realm human cauldrons were not cabbages that could be found anywhere. It was probably very difficult to find a second one like the Blood World, which had more than 100 void fragmentation realm human cauldrons. Even in the 4 heavens, void fragmentation realm human cauldrons were not easily obtainable. 10 years had passed. Ning Fan returned to the ruins of the Blood Slave Palace and entered the secret place to look for Luo Yu. Luo Yu had already removed the seal of the secret place. Currently, she had already been completely resurrected and refined her physical body, restoring her original appearance. She sat on the ice bed, quietly waiting for Ning Fan's arrival. She had no choice but to leave. However, before she leaves, she had something that she wanted to leave for him. Ning Fan walked to the stone chamber step by step with a heavy heart. Luo Yu was the woman who had accompanied him for the longest time. She had always stayed in the profound Yin world and accompanied him through all kinds of difficulties and obstacles. Since Luo Yu had been resurrected, it was time for her to leave. He was reluctant to part with her, but there was nothing he could do. He knew that his cultivation base was too weak. He could not help her or make her stay here. Moreover, what he had promised her in the past was to help her resurrect and let her go. Are you going to leave? Ning Fan looked at Luo Yu and said with a bitter smile. Since there is a passageway that leads to the Eastern Heaven here, I will go to the Eastern Heaven first. After that, I will go to the other worlds to search for opportunities and improve my strength. Where will you go? I don't know. I'll go wherever the opportunities are. Don't worry. I'm just at the abandoning void realm now. It's far from enough for me to take revenge. I won't joke around with my life. Come here. I have something to tell you. Ning Fan did not think about her anymore. He sat on the ice bed and leaned against Luo Yu. Just as he sat down, a pair of cold and soft lips moved closer to him. We're going to part ways soon. I'll give you something to remember. Isn't your steel of sun and moon still lacking the second Yin spirit? Take mine. Ning Fan's eyes turned gentle. He did not push the cold person in his arms away. Instead, he turned around and pressed her down on the ice bed. His hands caressed her cold and soft waist through her thin shirt. Then, he slid into her shirt and wandered around freely. All of a sudden, Ning Fan's eyes became clear. He frowned and asked. What happened to the injury on your back? It's a very serious injury. Even though I borrowed someone else's body to reincarnate, the injury is still there. Don't ask. Don't ask anything. Ning Fan, don't ask. Just treat this as a dream that you won't wake up from. She no longer called him silly brother but Ning Fan. At this moment, in Luo Yu's eyes, Ning Fan was the man she loved and nothing else. She felt a stinging pain. Red plum blossoms stained the ice bed. Luo Yu's eyelashes were filled with tears. She was not a weak person. However, at this moment, she had forgotten all the hatred and burdens she had to bear. She was willing to be weak for once. This is just a dream. Faint moans and moans reverberated in the stone gate. It was a very, very beautiful dream. After countless times, Ning Fan's body suddenly went numb and his consciousness became more and more blurry. He smiled bitterly. He was actually hit by Luo Yu's improved version of the Yin plucking finger. Although Luo Yu did not have the Yin Yang locket, she was also a cultivator of the Yin Yang transformation. Naturally, she knew some of the secret techniques that Ning Fan knew. It was Ning Fan's first time tasting the Yin plucking finger. He knew that Luo Yu was reluctant to leave him when he was awake. That was why she wanted to knock him out and leave him without saying goodbye. Little Yu air. Ning Fan's drowsy eyes looked at Luo Yu, who was wearing her clothes and looking at him reluctantly. He reached out his hand as if he wanted to grab something. However, he could not grab anything in the end. Ning Fan, I hope that we will meet again in this life. In his hazy state, Ning Fan saw the back of a lady in white robes walking towards the teleportation formation resolutely and a teardrop that fell on the floor. Then, she fell into a deep sleep. His cultivation base was at the 6th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm while Luo Yu was at the void renunciation realm. Luo Yu knew the secret technique of dual cultivation. Since she took the initiative to dual cultivate with Ning Fan naturally did not face any risks. She gave her Yuan Hong to Ning Fan, allowing his magic power to increase by 1 million Yuan Hui in just one night. In his dream, Ning Fan's magic power had reached 3 million Yuan Hui. His yin-yang transformation cultivation method had reached the 3rd level, the 7th level. The second yin spirit of the steel of sun and moon was completed. Ning Fan did not have the mood to look at it. After waking up, he took the opportunity to break through to the 7th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm and casually broke the heavenly tribulation. His magic power had increased to 5 million Yuan Hui. However, Ning Fan did not feel happy at all. His heart was empty. Looking at the red plum blossoms on the ice bed, he remained silent. Did I finally wake up from the dream? Shame, shame, shame. Little Fan Fan can't bear to part with the beauty. Shame, shame, shame. The beauty can't bear to part with little Fan Fan either. Shame, shame, shame. Little Fanfans but is still naked until now. Shame, shame, shame. Actually, Tong Tong also wants to spend some time with little Fan Fan. Unfortunately, she's too young. I don't want to. The little stutterer explained with a flushed face. Ning Fan looked at the sword pouch that was tossed aside and felt speechless. While he was feeling sad here, the 5 little creatures were stirring up trouble here. However, thanks to the 5 of them, Ning Fan's mood became much better. Be quiet. You guys are too noisy. Humph. The beauty is shouting so loudly and you don't even find it noisy. But when we whisper a few words, you find it noisy. You value your lover more than your friends. The few little creatures protested. Ning Fan was too lazy to argue with them. Only then did he have the mood to look at the changes in the profound yin world. When he did so, his eyes could not help but widen in surprise. The time he could stay in the profound yin world had increased to 1 year. As for the destructive power of the steel of sun and moon, it was already comparable to the attack of a life immortal realm expert. After putting on his clothes, Ning Fan took out the crystal containing the power of the purple sun from his storage pouch. His eyes flashed. If he devoured the 3rd sun, the profound yin world would continue to level up, and the power of the steel of sun and moon would also continue to increase. At this moment, the power of the steel of sun and moon was enough to instantly kill a loose immortal. If it continued to improve, even an early-stage human profound realm life immortal would not be able to withstand an attack from the steel of sun and moon. When the purple sun energy was completely devoured, he could stay in the profound yin world for 3 years. As for the power of the steel of sun and moon, Ning Fan gave it a try. Using the tablet technique once would consume all of his magic power, but it was enough to severely injure an early human profound life immortal realm expert. If Luo Yu hadn't given him the 2nd yin spirit, he wouldn't have been able to devour the 3rd yang spirit. Luo Yu was worried about him, so she helped him increase the might of the steel of sun and moon to increase his ability to protect himself. Ning Fan fell into silence again. 3 months later, Ning Fan completely stabilized his 7th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivation base. Only then did he step into the teleportation formation that would take him to the Eastern Heaven Immortal World. Unexpectedly, there was a small change in the teleportation formation during the teleportation. Every time the teleportation array was activated, it would take several years before it could be activated again. Neither Ning Fan nor Luo Yu knew about this. After Luo Yu left first, Ning Fan did not have to wait for several years. He immediately started the teleportation array. However, there was a slight deviation in the teleportation location. Ning Fan was accidentally teleported into a sea of light filled with layers of realm-breaking light. The realm-breaking light sea. Even a rogue immortal would die if he or she falls into it. Ning Fan, while feeling speechless, he forcefully rushed through the realm-breaking light sea by relying on the protection of 8,800 black stars. However, the moment he passed through the sea of light, he was already severely injured and on the verge of death. All he could see was a vast galaxy. Then, his vision blurred and he fell headfirst onto a black cultivation planet. This planet was called the Chaotic Devil Star. This star region was called the Chaotic Devil Star Sea. There were more than 7,000 cultivation countries on the Chaotic Devil Star. In a small devil sect in a low-grade cultivation country, a few gold core realm devil cultivators were kneeling in front of a devil statue. Sigh. My Qianqiu sect can't gather enough human cauldrons for our country. Our demise is imminent. I beg the old ancestor to show his spirit and grant us a way to survive. The few gold core realm old men were kowtowing in front of the devil statue. There were also tens of harmonious spirit realm cultivators behind them. All of a sudden, a ray of extraterrestrial devil light descended from the sky and landed on the ancestral temple of the Qianqiu sect. A hole was formed in the main hall. The statue of the old ancestor was smashed into pieces. A white-robed young man who was bathed in blood and had monstrous devil chi appeared in the main hall. His body was glowing with strange black starlight. He stared at the crowd coldly. The old ancestor has shown his spirit. A group of devil cultivators of the Qianqiu sect looked at the white-robed young man in disbelief. Could it be that this white-robed young man is their old ancestor Qianqiu? Has he shown his spirit? Could it be that he has really shown his spirit? Greetings, old ancestor. Countless cries of joy immediately resounded in the main hall. Ning Fan's muscles and bones were all broken. At this moment, he could only hold his breath. He could not even exert his gold core realm cultivation base. He looked at the crowd coldly. Even though he did not know why they addressed him as old ancestor, he ordered, "Prepare a stone chamber. I'm going into seclusion immediately." Chapter 700. Even though Ning Fan's injuries were severe, his aura made everyone in the 1,000 Years sect feel fear from the bottom of their hearts. The few elders of the 1,000 Years sect had long regarded Ning Fan as the old ancestor's spirit manifestation. Seeing that the old ancestor had given his order, how would they dare to disobey? The few of them immediately ordered to prepare a stone chamber for Ning Fan to enter seclusion. No one was allowed to disturb him. Outside the stone keep, countless spiritual wine and spiritual fire were offered. Incense was burned and prayers were offered, thanking the elder ancestor for appearing and saving the 1,000 Years sect from its predicament. At this moment, Ning Fan was busy recuperating. Naturally, he could not be bothered with the matters of the Qianqiu sect. Even an ordinary life immortal wouldn't dare to cross the realm breaker ocean by force. By relying on the star technique to protect his body, Ning Fan managed to do it. However, the injuries he suffered were too severe. According to his estimation, even if he used the star technique to heal himself, he would need at least a few hundred years to fully recover. It was obvious how serious the injury was. If he has the healing speed of the profound Yin world that was 100 times faster than normal, his injuries would only take a few years at most to fully recover. As soon as he entered the stone chamber, Ning Fan immediately went into the profound Yin world and recuperated in there for 3 years. 3 years had passed and Ning Fan's injuries had mostly healed. His cultivation base had also recovered to the late nascent soul realm. If he went into seclusion for another 3 years, he would be able to completely recover his cultivation. When the first 3 years of seclusion ended and Ning Fan returned to the stone chamber, he heard some sighs coming from outside the chamber. After listening to the discussion of the cultivators outside the stone fortress, Ning Fan roughly understood some things about the 1,000 Year sect. The 1,000 Year sect's fiendish cultivators had originally thought that the patriarch would appear and help the 1,000 Year sect escape this calamity. Who would have thought that as soon as the old ancestor manifested, he would run to the stone chamber to enter seclusion? This seclusion lasted for 3 years. This made the elders of the Thousand-Year sect suffer. The Thousand-Year sect was an inconspicuous little demonic sect on the Chaos Devil planet. It was under the control of the 100 Ghost sect, a mid-grade cultivation country. It was said that the Chaos Demon Star's Star Lord had fought with other Star Lords and was severely injured, requiring countless cauldrons to heal him. Therefore, the entire cultivation planet and the 7,000 cultivation countries were searching for cauldrons above the harmonious spirit realm for the Star Lord to heal his injuries. Those female devil sects only needed to hand over some harmonious spirit disciples and the task would be completed. However, the Thousand-Year sect was not so lucky. There was not a single harmonious spirit evil woman in the entire sect. Since the sect couldn't provide human cauldrons, they could only go outside to catch them. Unfortunately, the entire Chaos Devil Star was busy catching human cauldrons. Any harmonious spirit female cultivator who was walking on the streets could be caught by someone. The Thousand-Year sect had been capturing them for several months, but they only managed to capture 7 or 8 harmonious spirit female cultivators. Moreover, all of these female cultivators had already lost their primordial yin. The higher-ups wanted the Qianqiu sect to hand over 50 perfect cauldrons. Sadly, the Qianqiu sect could not hand them over at all. If they couldn't hand it over, they could only buy cauldrons. Unfortunately, the entire cultivation planet was buying cauldrons. The price of a spirit harmonizing cauldron was more expensive than a gold core Dao fruit. The Thousand-Year sect couldn't afford a few spirit harmonizing cauldrons at all. The higher-ups repeatedly extended the time limit, but the Thousand-Year sect still could not hand it over. Ning Fan had been in seclusion for 3 years and his superiors had already urged him 7 to 8 times. This time, the higher-ups came again and said that if the Qianqiu sect still couldn't hand over the cauldron, they would annihilate the entire sect. Patriarch, oh, Patriarch, please save our Thousand-Year sect. More than 10 vein opening realm devil cultivators were crying and begging outside the stone chamber. Inside the chamber, however, Ning Fan's face was cold and indifferent. He was not moved at all. He was neither a relative nor a friend of the Thousand-Year sect. Why would he help them? Now that he had just ascended to the eastern heaven, he had yet to figure out where he was and his injuries had yet to fully recover. Thus, Ning Fan did not want to get himself into unnecessary trouble. No matter how these people cried and screamed, Ning Fan just treated them with indifference and remained unmoved. Don't think that the Thousand-Year sect was pitiful. From their way of doing things, one could tell that this was a devil sect that committed all sorts of crimes. If they were to be annihilated, then so be it. It had nothing to do with Ning Fan. I can only enter the profound Yin world again after 3 more days. This time, I can stay for 3 years. Since the completion of the second Yin spirit, my minor 5 elemental physique has already broken through to the major 5 elemental physique. However, the 5 elements need to be perfected once again. After breaking through to the major 5 elemental physique, my physical body took the opportunity to break through to the second heavenly layer of the revered devil realm. Besides, after the completion of the second Yin spirit, I have also obtained a brand new Yin-Yang secret technique. The seed of incense flame. As long as I plant the seed of incense flame in the human cauldrons that I subdue, even if the human cauldrons don't kowtow to my statue and offer incense to me, I can still slowly collect the power of incense. This seed of incense flame is harmless to them, but it is beneficial to me. These few days, I can enter the cauldron world and plant the seed of incense flame in my 100,000 human cauldrons. Ning Fan's body swayed and he entered the cauldron world. 1 day later, he finished planting the seeds and continued his seclusion in the stone chamber. In the outside world, the Thousand-Year sect was facing a calamity of life and death. A few elders of the Thousand-Year sect were kneeling in the main hall. 7 nascent soul realm old monsters were sitting on the seats of honor. These 7 nascent soul realm experts were devil cultivators from a mid-grade cultivation country. The one with the highest cultivation base among them was a half-step divine transformation realm cultivator. It was a man with a feminine appearance. He was wearing a bright red robe. He was holding a teacup and took a sip from it. Then, he said to the elders of the Thousand-Year sect in a strange tone. It has been 3 years and you still haven't gathered 50 melting spirit cauldrons. Hee hee. How dare you? This person's voice was extremely soft. It was neither a man nor a woman. How could the elders of the 1,000-year sect have the guts to laugh at this old monster? This human demon old monster was the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect. Moreover, he was also the disciple of a void glimpse stage old monster. Even some divine transformation realm old monsters from high-grade cultivation countries would have to be polite when they meet the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect. Please calm down, my lord. It's not that we don't want to do our best. It's just that it's really difficult to find melting spirit cauldrons at this critical moment. A late gold core realm elder explained. I don't like those meaningless explanations. I only look at the results. In the past 3 years, I've sent people to ask for human cauldrons 8 times. You refused 8 times. Today is the 9th time and also the last time. I've come personally. If you still don't hand over the cauldrons, I don't mind annihilating your 1,000-year sect. The cold words of the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect made all the cultivators of the 1,000-year sect break out in cold sweat. The few elders exchanged glances with each other in despair. All of them were well aware that they absolutely could not hand over the cauldrons. However, they were not willing to bow down and die just like that. Their old ancestor had appeared and was now in seclusion in the 1,000-year mountain. The late gold core realm old monster Qian Qiu gritted his teeth and mustered his courage to say. My old ancestor is currently in seclusion in the 1,000-year mountain. He will never allow anyone to annihilate the 1,000-year sect. What? Old ancestor Qian Qiu. Upon hearing this name, even an arrogant person like the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect was shocked. The 1,000-year sect was a devil sect that was established 4,000 years ago. The first sect master was old ancestor Qian Qiu. Old ancestor Qian Qiu was a ruthless person. Although he was at the late divine transformation realm, no devil cultivator below the void refinement realm on the entire chaotic devil star was a match for him. It was said that the star lord of another devil star took a fancy to this person and wanted to take him as his disciple. However, he was rejected. Even the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect had heard of such a powerful person. Therefore, when he first heard that old ancestor Qian Qiu was in the sect, his first reaction was fear. However, on second thought, didn't old ancestor Qian Qiu die in a great battle 4,000 years ago? If old ancestor Qian Qiu was still alive, would he tolerate his sect being bullied by others? I'm not in the mood to joke with you. According to what I know, old ancestor Qian Qiu died 4,000 years ago. The sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect snorted coldly. The late gold core realm elder immediately felt a sharp pain in his chest and coughed out a mouthful of blood. However, his expression was still arrogant. Although the old ancestor has died, we have been worshipping the devil statue every day and have already summoned the old ancestor's spiritual body back. The old ancestor had already manifested 3 years ago and is now in seclusion in the back mountain. I, old ancestor Qian Qiu, will never allow you to annihilate the 1,000-year sect. Ha, ha. The sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect suddenly burst into laughter. What did he hear just now? There was actually such a ridiculous thing in this world. This bunch of idiots from the 1,000-year sect actually managed to make the old ancestor manifest after worshipping the devil statue. This was too ridiculous. Manifest? He, old ancestor Qian Qiu, was not an immortal emperor. How could he make use of the golden temple to manifest? Only a few immortal emperors knew a thing or two about the great divine power of manifesting and descending upon the world. Judging from the confident tone of the 1,000-year sect members, it seemed like there was really someone impersonating old ancestor Qian Qiu and was in seclusion at the 1,000-year mountain. However, there was no need to ask to know that the person could only be an impersonator. Old ancestor Qian Qiu was already dead. This was an indisputable fact. Manifesting and whatnot were all nonsense. As for the impersonator, he had hidden at the 1,000-year mountain for 3 years and did not dare to stand up for the 1,000-year sect. He was most likely a liar who had not even formed his nascent soul. Interesting, interesting. You, lead the way. I'll go to the stone gate of the 1,000-year mountain right now and meet your old ancestor. I'm going to annihilate the 1,000-year sect anyway, so let's start with your old ancestor. The sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect sneered and led the other 6 nascent soul realm cultivators to the stone gate at the back of the mountain under the lead of a few elders. After being ridiculed by the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect, the elders of the 1,000 Years sect lost their confidence. The reason why they were certain that Ning Fan was the manifestation of their old ancestor was because the incident that day was too shocking. A ray of devil light descended from the sky and turned into Ning Fan, who was covered in devil chi. All of this was too coincidental. At that moment, Ning Fan's aura was unparalleled and it was not any weaker than the legendary old ancestor Qian Qiu. That was why they firmly believed that the senior from the devil Dao who descended from the sky was the manifestation of their old ancestor. Now that the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect said it, they began to doubt whether their old ancestor was real or not. If he was real, why did he not pay any attention to the 1,000-year sect after entering the stone gate for 3 years? Legend had it that old ancestor Qian Qiu was a devil lord who killed without batting an eyelid. He was never bullied by anyone. He was the only one who bullied others. Hiss, the few old men sucked in a cold breath at the same time. It can't be. Could it be that the old ancestor in the stone gate was really a fake? At this moment, the few elders were not the only ones who had doubts. The harmonious spirit realm and vein opening realm disciples also had doubts. Today, the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect had threatened to annihilate the 1,000-year sect, but the old ancestor still didn't come out to protect the sect. Could it be that he was not the real old ancestor? Soon, they arrived at the back of the mountain. The sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect and the other 6 nascent soul realm cultivators stood proudly outside the stone gate, staring at it coldly. Especially the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect. His arrogant eyes were filled with mockery. He wanted to kill their old ancestor in front of the people of the 1,000-year sect and laugh at their foolishness. Then, he would slaughter the entire sect. You have been hiding in the stone gate for 3 years. Are you still not going to show yourself? Quickly come out and accept your death. The sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect shouted coldly. However, no sound came from the stone gate. Each of the disciples of the 1,000-year sect immediately showed an embarrassed and resentful expression. The sect master's words were a blatant provocation. If the person in the stone gate was really their old ancestor, he would have come out and killed all the intruders regardless of their background. Unfortunately, there was no movement inside the stone gate. It's not the old ancestor. It really isn't. Looking at the embarrassed expressions of the disciples of the 1,000-year sect, the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect laughed mockingly and continued speaking to the stone gate. It seems like you are not the real 1,000-year sect master. I'll give you 3 breaths to get out of the stone gate. Don't force me to break the stone gate. 1 breath. 2 breaths. 3 breaths. With every breath that the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect took, the despair in the hearts of the people of the 1,000-year sect grew. After 3 breaths, the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect made a grabbing motion with his 5 fingers. A black ball of light appeared in his palm. With a light toss, the ball of light immediately hit the stone gate of the 1,000-year mountain at an astonishing speed. With a loud boom, the entire 1,000-year mountain collapsed and the stone gate shattered. The disciples of the 1,000-year sect immediately turned pale. Was this the power of the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect? This power was not much weaker than a soul formation old monster. The sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect closed his eyes and said indifferently, "You're the one who didn't come out of seclusion. Don't blame me for being ruthless. Now that you've been destroyed along with this mountain, you won't have the chance to come out of seclusion anymore." In his opinion, he had destroyed the 1,000-year mountain with a single strike. The old ancestor of the Shi-Bei sect who had not even formed his nascent soul would definitely die in this round of attack. Next, it's time to annihilate the 1,000-year sect. Just as he was thinking about this, his eyes suddenly widened and he looked at the ruins of the 1,000-year mountain in disbelief. The other 6 nascent soul realm cultivators also wore shocked expressions. Amidst the smoke and dust, a white-robed young man walked out from the ruins with a cold expression. The cultivation base that he revealed was at the late nascent soul realm. However, there was an aura force on his body that made the nascent soul realm of the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect tremble uncontrollably. Old Ancestor. It's the Old Ancestor. The Old Ancestor is not dead. He must be the real Old Ancestor. The disciples of the 1,000-year sect immediately shouted. All of their shouts entered Ning Fan's ears, but it did not cause any ripples in his heart. He stared coldly at the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect. He really did not care whether this person could annihilate the 1,000-year sect or not. However, this person actually dared to attack his place of seclusion. He was really courting death. Calm down. This person must be carrying some kind of secret treasure that can increase his aura force. That's why he has such a terrifying aura force. His cultivation base is only at the late nascent soul realm. It's not worth mentioning at all. The sect master tried his best to calm his mind. However, he did not have the right to do so in front of Ning Fan. Just as his voice fell, he suddenly saw Ning Fan's eyes flashing with cold light. My current cultivation base is indeed not worth mentioning. However, killing all of you is not as difficult as pinching an ant to death. Ning Fan raised his hand and made a suction force. A vast suction force immediately drew the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect to him. Facing that suction force, he who was a dignified half-step divine transformation realm cultivator could not resist it at all. Ning Fan grabbed his neck and lifted him up high. His eyes were still cold. Meeting Ning Fan's merciless eyes, the sect master felt a chill from the bottom of his heart. He wanted to break free from Ning Fan's evil grasp, but he could not do so at all. His heart was filled with fear. You're not at the nascent soul realm. You're definitely not a nascent soul realm cultivator. It's impossible for a nascent soul realm cultivator to take me down so easily. Did I say that I'm a nascent soul realm cultivator? Die. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He clenched his fist and broke the sect master's neck. His hand was full of blood. The sect master's nascent soul tried to escape from his corpse but was caught by Ning Fan's palm again. Why you can't kill me? My master is one of the 17 devil guards under the Star Lord. You can't. Ning Fan was not interested in this person's background at all. Without saying anything, he directly searched his soul and memories. In just a moment, he obtained a large amount of information from the sect master's memory. Then, he swallowed his nascent soul mercilessly. When the other 6 nascent soul realm cultivators saw how terrifying Ning Fan's strength was, killing a half-step divine transformation realm cultivator was as easy as pinching an ant, they fled in terror. Sword light flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. His black sword sense swept across the sky and reaped the lives of the 6 cultivators with ease. Don't you think it's too late to leave? The entire 1,000 years sect fell into dead silence. Ning Fan's strength made them feel awe and fear. Old Ancestor is mighty. With a loud bang, all the cultivators of the 1,000 years sect knelt down and kowtowed to Ning Fan. Ning Fan did not pay attention to them. Whether they live or die had nothing to do with him. I want to continue my seclusion here. All of you, retreat. As he raised his hand, the rubble of the 1,000 years mountain that had collapsed suddenly turned into a mountain again. Without saying anything, Ning Fan flew into the stone chamber. A few days later, he entered the profound Yin world again to heal his injuries. In the chaotic devil country, an old man with void glimpse stage cultivation base looked at the life token in his hand that had been broken into 2 halves. He was enraged. Who can tell me? Why did my disciple die in a mere low-grade cultivation country? Investigate. Chapter 701. On the chaotic devil star, a shocking piece of news quickly spread across the 7,000 cultivation countries. The treasured disciple of the Drifting Mountain Patriarch, the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect, had actually been killed. And the person who killed his disciple was a cultivator from a low-ranked cultivation country. However, many of the old monsters had heard of this cultivator's name. Forefather Qianqiu. 4,000 years ago, old ancestor Qianqiu became the strongest being below the void refinement realm on the chaotic devil star with his late divine transformation realm cultivation base. 4,000 years later, old ancestor Qianqiu was still alive. It was very likely that he had already broken through to the void refinement realm. After 4,000 years, forefather Qianqiu must have become even more powerful. Even so, no one thought that forefather Thousand Autumns could afford to offend forefather Dang Yu. Even though old ancestor Dang Yu's cultivation base was only at the void glimpse stage, he was a 6th revolution pill refinement master. He was highly regarded by the chaotic devil Star Lord and was one of the 17 devil guards of the Star Lord. When old ancestor Dang Yu brought the other 16 void refinement realm and void fragmentation realm devil guards to a low-grade cultivation country and surrounded the 1,000 Years sect, the entire planet shook. Meanwhile, all the cultivators of the 1,000 Years sect knelt down in fear. All 17 demon guards are mobilized. Not good, old ancestor has caused trouble. What should we do? No matter how powerful the old ancestor is, he's no match for the 17 demon guards. That's right. Among the 17 devil guards, there are 3 void fragmentation realm experts. The rest of them are experts who are strong enough to wipe out 7,000 cultivation countries. Old ancestor is definitely not a match for these devil guards. Moreover, the backer behind these devil guards is the dignified Star Lord of the chaotic devil star. That's an existence that we can't afford to offend. The elders of the 1,000 Years sect all looked defeated. The newcomer was too powerful, so powerful that they couldn't muster any will to resist. One should know that the chaotic devil star region had a total of 7 great devil stars and 7 great star lords. Each of them was an expert at the 6th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm or above. Star Lord Chaos Devil was a 6th Shatterer. In the entire chaotic devil star, there were only a dozen or so void fragmentation realm experts in the 7,000 cultivation countries. The Chaos Demon Star Lord alone could sweep across the entire Chaos Demon Star. Today, in order to avenge his disciple, old ancestor Che Yu had invited 3 void fragmentation realm experts to annihilate the Qianqiu sect. No one thought that the Qianqiu sect would be able to avoid this calamity. 1,000 Years sect, what a 1,000 Years sect. Patriarch Drifting Mountain stood in the sky, and 16 peerless experts stood behind him. He looked coldly at the kneeling members of the 1,000 Years sect and suddenly had an idea. I heard that Qianqiu is still in seclusion. Yes. Elder Qianqiu's faces were ashen as they answered every question. Hee, do you want to live? Patriarch Sweeping Peak sneered. Yes, all the members of the 1,000 Autumns sect shouted. Ha! I'll give all of you a chance. So long as all of you swear a Tao Heart Oath to draw a clear line between you and that kid, Qianqiu, and betray him to submit to me, then I'll spare all of your lives. How about it? Really? All the cultivators of the 1,000 Years sect were filled with excitement. They admired forefather Thousand Autumns only because they wanted to rely on him to survive. Now that they knew that their patriarch was no match for Patriarch Sweeping Mountain, how could they be loyal to their patriarch? If they could live by betraying the old ancestor, why would they hesitate to betray him? I'm willing to swear a great Tao Heart Oath that from this day onwards, I'll no longer have anything to do with Patriarch Qianqiu. No, Taoist Qianqiu. I'll only be loyal to Senior Dang Yu. I'm willing to swear a great Tao Heart Oath. From today onwards, I'll no longer have anything to do with Taoist Qianqiu and the 1,000 Autumns sect. Looking at the cultivators of the 1,000 Autumns sect who swore a great Tao Heart Oath in order to survive, the corners of old ancestor Sweeping Peak's mouth curled into a mocking smile. He had never thought of letting these people go. He just wanted to see how many of them were loyal to Ning Fan. Hee. None of them. How ironic. In order to protect the sect, that kid, Qianqiu, killed my disciple and offended me. His disciple, on the other hand, directly betrayed him in order to survive. If he finds out about this, he'll probably be in great pain. Die. Old ancestor Sweeping Peak casually struck out a ray of sword light. That sword light immediately turned into a rain of swords, turning the entire Thousand Autumns sect into ruins. None of the cultivators of the Thousand Autumns sect survived. Their bodies could only be described as minced meat. Only their heads still maintained an expression of shock and fear. Do you think you can survive by betraying me? How ridiculous, old ancestor Sweeping Peak sneered. With a flick of his sleeve, thousands of heads piled up to form a human skull tower. He wanted to use this human skull tower to pay tribute to his disciple. However, this tower was still missing a human skull. Ning Fan's head. Old ancestor Sweeping Peak's figure flashed and landed outside the stone chamber of the Thousand Autumns mountain with the 16 experts behind him. He looked at the simple and crude stone chamber and saw through the scenery inside with a single glance. His brows were tightly knitted together. That kid, Qianqiu, isn't inside the stone chamber. Damn it. Did he run away? Perhaps this person has gone into seclusion inside the heavenly dwelling. It's said that he has injuries on his body. Most likely, he is healing his injuries inside the heavenly dwelling. A first heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old man guessed. Hiding inside the heavenly dwelling, huh? Elder Chu, tear this heavenly dwelling apart. Old ancestor Sweeping Peak said to the second heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old man beside him. This is easy to break. The void fragmentation realm old man with the surname Chu pointed a finger at the Thousand Autumns mountain. All of a sudden, the entire Thousand Autumns mountain turned into ashes. He clawed at the empty space in front of him, trying to tear open the heavenly dwelling that Ning Fan was in. Tearing open the heavenly dwelling with a palm was an ability that every void fragmentation realm old monster had. Hiding inside the heavenly dwelling when facing the pursuit of a void fragmentation realm expert was no different from courting death. The scene of tearing open the heavenly dwelling as expected did not happen. There was no hidden heavenly dwelling in this place. Impossible. I can even tear open the spatial barrier of a high-grade heavenly dwelling. Could it be that that kid, Qianqiu, didn't hide inside the heavenly dwelling but escaped in advance? The old man with the surname Chu said in disbelief. No. Qianqiu must still be here. Even though I have yet to tear open the heavenly dwelling, I can sense a trace of undetectable world power in this place. I'm afraid that kid is not hiding inside the heavenly dwelling but inside a world treasure. A small Kiliacosm world treasure. Everyone including old ancestor Sweeping Peak revealed a look of greed. A small Kiliacosm world treasure was a good item. Even when facing the pursuit of an ordinary life immortal realm expert, one would be able to survive by hiding inside a small Kiliacosm world. Of course, there were also many life immortal realm experts who could break open a small Kiliacosm. If that kid, Qianqiu, really hides inside a small Kiliacosm world, it will be a little tricky. Unless he leaves the small Kiliacosm himself, it's absolutely impossible to capture him. However, if it's for the small Kiliacosm world, what's the harm in waiting for him here for 100 years? I don't believe that he won't leave this small Kiliacosm for the rest of his life. Everyone sneered at the same time. Originally, Sweeping Peak came here just to kill Ning Fan and take revenge. But now, even if it's just for that small Kiliacosm world treasure, he still wanted to kill Ning Fan and seize the treasure. Old ancestor Sweeping Peak and the others sent a message transmitting flying sword to the Star Lord, informing him about the discovery of the small Kiliacosm world treasure. The Star Lord immediately gave an order, leaving old ancestor Sweeping Peak and the other 6 devil guards to stay here and wait for Ning Fan to show up so that they could kill him and seize the treasure. The remaining devil guards then returned to the chaotic devil country to report to the Star Lord and continue to search for human cauldrons to help the Star Lord heal his injuries. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, in the profound Yin world, Ning Fan stood with his hands clasped behind his back. He was bathing in the bright sunlight without saying a word. The steel of sun and moon had been upgraded again and again. the profound Een world had also been upgraded again and again. This world was no longer barren and desolate. Instead, it was more like a paradise. The thatched cottage was still there. Unfortunately, the woman who lived inside had already left. Ning Fan's injuries had completely healed. Today, he was still the extremely powerful strongest devil in the 9 worlds. He had already learned about the overall strength of the chaotic devil star from the memories of the sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect. The chaotic devil star was very weak. It was not worth mentioning. Because of this, Ning Fan could sense the strength of the Eastern Heaven Immortal World. The Eastern Heaven Immortal World had countless star regions and cultivation planets. Cultivation planets were divided into 4 grades. A cultivation planet like the chaotic devil star was the lowest grade cultivation planet, a low-grade cultivation planet. In a low-grade cultivation planet, the Star Lord would at most be a rogue immortal or at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. A mid-grade cultivation planet would be guarded by a life immortal. A high-grade cultivation planet would even be guarded by a true immortal. The highest grade cultivation planet was called an immortal mansion planet. Usually, there would be immortal venerables or immortal kings guarding it. There might even be immortal emperors. To the 4 heavens, the lower worlds were indeed not worth mentioning. This chaotic devil star lord had a cultivation base of the 6th destruction realm. If he was in the lower worlds, he would be able to make a name for himself. However, in the upper worlds, he was not worth mentioning at all. The Eastern Heaven was very chaotic. The heavenly law of the 4 Phoenixes sect was useless here. Ning Fan also had the identity of an 8th grade immortal guard. This identity was only useful in the 4 Phoenixes sect. Unfortunately, it was useless in the Eastern Heaven. If a low-grade cultivation planet was destroyed, almost no one would care about it. Of course, if there was someone behind the destroyed low-grade cultivation planet, it would be a different story. My strength can allow me to move unhindered in the 9 worlds. However, in the 4 heavens, I'm only qualified to be the Star Lord of a low-grade cultivation planet. No wonder the 4 Phoenixes sect neglected the change of the divine sovereigns in the lower worlds. Who would spend the effort to manage such a weak lower world? In the eyes of the cultivators in the upper worlds, the 9 worlds is probably not much nobler than 9 low-grade cultivation planets. There are 3 reasons why I came to the Eastern Heaven Immortal World. Firstly, to find the immortal soul grass and let Wei-Yang's soul grow. Secondly, to fulfill Senior Tai Su's last wish. To help my master collect his debt. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a yellowed promissory note. Then, he sighed helplessly. Even though the old devil was a little calculative when he asked him to collect his debt, 1 billion Dao crystals was not a small amount. If he has this amount of money, it would be much easier for him to break through his cultivation realm. Perhaps, he could use the Dao crystals to buy a large amount of pills for his cultivation or directly devour a large amount of Dao crystals to break through his cultivation realm. He had already left all the things that he should leave behind in the lower worlds. Now that he has arrived in the upper worlds, he did not need to worry about money anymore. If he runs out of money, he could just rob them again. My injuries have already healed. It's almost time for me to leave the chaotic devil star and head to the immortal soul star to look for the immortal soul grass. However, I wonder which star region is the immortal soul star. Immortal Emperor Meng Xuanzi had once given Ning Fan an astrolabe which recorded the location of the black tortoise star in the northern heavens. The stars would move according to their trajectories. Therefore, there was no fixed map that could accurately depict the location of each star region and cultivation planet. The map of the 4 heavens was called an astrolabe. It could be used as a flying treasure. Of course, its main purpose was to be used as a map. Every star region had a specific astrolabe. Only by following the direction of the astrolabe could one find the star region and cultivation planet that one wanted to reach. In order to head to the immortal soul star, one must first know which star region the immortal soul star was located in and then purchase the astrolabe of that star region. Flying in a star palace was always very troublesome. Low-grade cultivation planets did not have astrolabes for sale. To create an astrolabe, one would need to borrow a trace of immortal power to deduce the position of the stars and condense the power of the starry sky into the astrolabe. Therefore, only powerful cultivators who were at the life immortal realm and above could create astrolabes. Normally, astrolabes were only sold on mid-grade cultivation planets. In order to head to the immortal soul star, I first need to find a mid-grade cultivation planet. Then, I will gather information there and purchase an astrolabe. The starry sky is boundless. If I just fly aimlessly, I don't know how long it will take for me to find a mid-grade cultivation planet. Ning Fan sighed softly. With a sway of his body, he left the profound Yin world. The moment he appeared in the outside world, 7 rays of killing intent immediately locked onto him. Moreover, a cold sneer entered Ning Fan's ears. Little Qianqiu, you're finally willing to show yourself. The sect master of the 100 Ghosts sect is my disciple. The Qianqiu sect has already been massacred by me. Under the order of the Star Lord, we will guard you here. Quickly hand over the small Kiliacosm Cosmos treasure and I will leave your corpse intact. Ning Fan's eyes suddenly turned cold. At this moment, he was standing on the ruins of the Qianqiu mountain. Surrounding him were 7 devil cultivators with monstrous devil qi. 5 of them were at the void refinement realm while the other 2 were at the void fragmentation realm. The entire Qianqiu sect had already been flattened. A tower of human skulls was built on top of the ruins. 3 years had passed and the human skulls had already rotted away. Ning Fan looked at the human skulls. His heart was still calm. He was a heartless person in the first place. The Qianqiu sect had nothing to do with him. Oh. Little Qianqiu, I didn't expect you to be so indifferent after seeing the tower of human skulls of your disciples. You are indeed as cold-blooded and heartless as the rumors say. Actually, you really don't need to feel sad for them. They are just a group of rebels. In order to survive, they have already betrayed you. Old ancestor Dang Yu's words were just to disturb Ning Fan's state of mind. He secretly made a hand seal and the ground trembled slightly. Then, 5 gigantic earth dragons drilled out from under Ning Fan's feet and bit his head from 5 different directions. Die. Ning Fan's expression remained cold from the beginning to the end. Whether the cultivators of the Qianqiu sect had betrayed him or why they died, he really did not care at all. Old ancestor Dang Yu's method of disturbing his state of mind was really clumsy. As for sneak attacks, they were equally clumsy. These 5 earth dragons were strong enough to kill ordinary void glimpse stage experts. However, they were not worth mentioning to Ning Fan at all. With a wave of his sleeve, the 5 earth dragons were directly turned into ashes by Ning Fan's wind. At the moment he made his move, Ning Fan's 7th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm aura force gushed out without any reservation. All of a sudden, the 7 devil guards including old ancestor Dang Yu wore an extremely terrified expression. Even the 2 void fragmentation realm experts who were guarding this place were filled with fear. They were just at the 1st and 2nd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. In front of Ning Fan who was at the 7th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, they could not resist at all. 7th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. This old ancestor Qianqiu sect actually had a higher cultivation base than the Star Lord. Run! Without any hesitation, the 7 of them fled in different directions. Ning Fan flicked his finger and a gigantic illusory vortex appeared in front of the 7 of them, directly sucking them into it. In just an instant, all 6 of them were turned into pools of blood by the vortex. With a flick of his sleeve, the storage pouches of the 7 of them fell into Ning Fan's palm. Old ancestor Dang Yu's primordial spirit also fell into Ning Fan's palm. Ning Fan mercilessly searched his soul and memory before killing him. After collecting the Tao crystals of the 7 of them, Ning Fan sent all the other magic treasures and pills into the cauldron world. Currently, there were already 100,000 cauldrons in the cauldron world. However, the leaders were still Bingling and Yuling. The 2 of them had already broken through to the peak nascent soul realm and were close to the divine transformation realm. The cultivation bases of the other female guards were also above the gold core realm. These female guards might not be able to join the battlefield, but they could cultivate in the rear. Through the Joss Flame seed, they could provide Ning Fan with an endless supply of Joss Flame power. Joss Flame power was an important way for immortals to improve their cultivation base. After doing all of this, Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He took out the ancient golden sword and flew towards the Chaotic Devil country, the capital of the Chaotic Devil planet. Very good. In order to obtain a small Kiliacosm Cosmos treasure, the Star Lord of the Chaotic Devil planet actually sent someone to kill him. He was never a person who would suffer losses. Since this Star Lord came to his doorstep, he did not mind teaching him a lesson. The sword light of the ancient golden sword was terrifying. It flew at full speed, shocking one cultivation country after another. All the devil cultivators who stood in his way were killed by Ning Fan with just a flick of his finger. In the Chaotic Devil country, the Chaotic Devil Star Lord stared at the urgent reports in his hands. His eyes were extremely gloomy. The 7 devil guards were all killed by that Taoist Qian Qiu. It has only been 4,000 years. How could this person become so strong? His cultivation base is already at the 7th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Star Lord, what should we do now? That person's cultivation base is terrifying. Those who stood in his way were all killed by him. Besides, Lord has yet to recover from his injuries. I'm afraid no one on the Chaotic Devil planet can stop him. A void fragmentation realm old monster looked at the Chaotic Devil Star Lord with a pale face. Quickly asked the other Star Lords for help. The Chaotic Devil Star Lord gritted his teeth and said, Isn't Lord not on good terms with the other Star Lords? Why would they come to save you? How dare they not come? The discord between us is just a private fight among ourselves. The 7 of us are the disciples of the 7 Fiends sect. If I die, they won't be able to escape the sect's punishment. Humph. The Chaotic Devil Star Lord let out a cold snort. He clenched his fists tightly and his eyes turned cold. He wanted to see how bold and capable this old ancestor Qian Qiu was to dare to go against the 7 Star Lords of the Chaotic Devil Star region at the same time. Even if this old ancestor Qian Qiu was stronger than the 7 Star Lords, would he still dare to go against the 7 Fiends sect? The 7 Fiends sect was a superforce with a mid-human profound life immortal realm cultivator. Chapter 702. Ning Fan stood on the tip of the sword and flew towards the Chaotic Devil country at full speed. His eyes were cold and emotionless. That emotionlessness was the true coldness he had after his 7 emotions were extinguished. He would only put on a smile for his loved ones. He did not need to care about his enemies. Bone Dust Country, a void-grade cultivation country. When Ning Fan passed by this country, tens of thousands of cultivators formed a formation to stop him. Without saying a word, Ning Fan used the Maelstrom Void and sucked all of them into the Maelstrom Void, killing them all. Sword Abyss Country, a void-grade cultivation country. 100,000 sword cultivators stood in front of Ning Fan and formed a sword formation in an attempt to slow him down. As Ning Fan pointed his finger, an unimaginable destructive force immediately attacked them, turning all 100,000 cultivators into blood mist. Void-grade cultivation country, a body venerate country. 3,000 jade life body cultivators stood in front of Ning Fan, but all of them were crushed into powder by his punch. The strength of his punch was comparable to the attack of a 3rd heavenly layer Nirvana realm body cultivator. Void-grade cultivation country, Tian Lan country, void-grade cultivation country, Huang Feng country, void-grade cultivation country, Nightless country. Every time Ning Fan arrived at a cultivation country, he would be stopped by someone. With his cultivation base, it was naturally impossible for him to be injured by them. His eyes gradually turned serious. Those people did not seem to want to kill him. Instead, they wanted to slow him down and stall for time, stalling for time because he wants to wait for reinforcements. This Chaos Devil Star Lord is not someone who is easy to deal with. However, I don't know what cultivation base the reinforcements he is waiting for are. If they are below the life immortal realm, there's nothing to fear. If they are at the life immortal realm, I can still protect myself with the Black Devil escaping technique even if I can't defeat them. Ning Fan remained silent for a while and looked ahead. His eyes gradually turned colder. In front of him was the star capital of the Chaotic Devil planet, the Chaotic Devil country. Outside the Chaotic Devil planet, the country's protective grand formation was directly activated. The level of that formation was at the immortal grade. Inside the formation, there were millions of cultivators guarding it. Each of them looked at Ning Fan, who was standing outside through the formation light, with fear. Currently, there was no one on the Chaotic Devil planet who did not know that the old monster standing on the ancient golden sword was a devil lord who killed without batting an eye. His Dao name was Qian Qiu. Currently, the outside world was spreading rumors that old ancestor Qian Qiu had a cultivation base at the Void Fragmentation realm. Even at his peak, the Star Lord was no match for Forefather Thousand Autumns, and now that he was still heavily injured, he was even less of a match for Forefather Thousand Autumns. This immortal array was the final barrier of the Chaotic Demon Kingdom. If it was broken, the Chaotic Demon Kingdom would be destroyed. Fellow Taoist Thousand Autumns, please stop. It was our Anarchy Demon Empire's fault for offending you in the past. However, you've also killed countless people along the way. You've already vented the resentment in your heart. If you don't retreat now, this old man can guarantee that you will regret it not long after. A fourth heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old man in red robes threatened Ning Fan coldly through the immortal formation. He knew that it wouldn't be long before the 6 Star Lords would arrive at the Chaotic Demon Empire to reinforce their Star Lord. When the time comes, the 7 great Star Lords will arrive together. Even if Ning Fan is a cultivator at the 7th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, he would not be able to escape death. One should know that there was no lack of 7 Shatter-old monsters among the other Star Lords, there was even one 8 Shatterer. It's too late for regrets, is it? Ning Fan's expression was as cold as usual. Of course, he was not frightened by the red-robed old man's words. The reason why the defense of the immortal formation in front of him seemed strong was because it contained the Tao power of life and death. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and summoned a ray of black light. That ray of black light cut through the formation light of the immortal formation. Black Devil Scissors. The red-robed old man's eyes widened in shock. He could not see what kind of magic treasure Ning Fan was using at all. He only knew that it was extremely powerful as it could even cut through the formation light. He quickly took out a formation plate and controlled the grand formation to repair the formation light. Without saying a word, Ning Fan changed his hand seals continuously. A single silhouette immediately turned into 100 silhouettes, 1,000 silhouettes and then 10,000 silhouettes. Countless silhouettes cut through the immortal formation. The speed of breaking the formation was far faster than the speed of repairing it. Under the red-robed old man's astonished gaze, the immortal formation light was forcefully cut into countless pieces after 10 breaths. Immortal. The immortal formation is broken. This is bad. Retreat quickly. We are definitely not a match for this devil. The red-robed old man was horrified, and he immediately turned into a crimson streak of light and fled into the distance without another word. Ning Fan raised his hand and took out the Black Devil Scissors. With a single cut, he cut that person into 2 pieces. Even his primordial spirit was cut into pieces. He pointed a finger at the ground and then raised his hand to the sky. Countless illusory vortexes immediately appeared on the ground and the sky. Millions of cultivators were sucked into the void of the vortexes, turning into pus and blood and dying. Ning Fan's eyes were cold and emotionless. He kept the Black Devil Scissors and kept the countless storage pouches and Tao fruits into his cauldron world. Then, he stepped on the ancient sword and flew towards the direction of the Chaotic Devil Palace. At this moment, the Chaotic Devil Star Lord was really panicking. The other 6 Star Lords had yet to arrive, but Ning Fan had already arrived outside the Chaotic Devil Palace. He did not expect that the ambushes and the defense of the immortal formation could not stop Ning Fan's footsteps at all. Forcing himself to walk out of the Chaotic Devil Palace, the Chaotic Devil Star Lord's eyes were extremely gloomy. He stared at Ning Fan, who was standing on the ancient sword in white robes. Qian Qiuzi, you are courting death. I will give you a chance to live. Get out of the chaotic devil star now, and I will let bygones be bygones. Otherwise. Noisy. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and Emperor Xia's sword appeared in his hand. He raised his hand and swung the sword. Golden light shone brightly. That sword attack was unstoppable when it was used by the current Ning Fan. With just a single sword attack, the chaotic devil palace was split apart. The sword light turned into rain and countless cultivators of the palace died under the sword rain. The chaotic devil star lord's forehead was drenched in cold sweat. If it wasn't because he reacted in time and escaped from the attack range of the sword rain, he would certainly be severely injured by it. This man is really strong. Even if I am in my peak condition, I still have no chance of winning against him. Damn it. Why aren't the other Star Lords here yet? It seems like I can only run away first. The chaotic devil Star Lord gritted his teeth and patted his storage pouch. He took out a jade slip and crushed it. Immediately, a tall and large star door appeared behind him. It could teleport him to the nearest cultivation planet. Seeing that the chaotic devil Star Lord wanted to run away, Ning Fan's eyes flashed with disdain. He raised his hand and slashed the star door. Then, he slashed the chaotic devil Star Lord's physical body into two. A trace of extremely panicked primordial spirit immediately shot out from the remains of the Star Lord. It cursed loudly while desperately trying to escape. You! How dare you destroy my physical body? How dare you? I am a dignified disciple of the Seven Fiends sect. What responded to the chaotic devil Star Lord was another trace of cold sword light that killed his primordial spirit. Hiss! The devil cultivators who were lucky enough to survive stared at Ning Fan with fear. Their bodies were trembling and cold sweat was dripping down their foreheads. The dignified Star Lord of the chaotic devil star was actually killed by Ning Fan so easily. If this matter spreads out, the neighboring star regions would be shaken. If the Seven Fiends sect hears about it, they would probably be enraged. Seven Fiends sect. Ning Fan muttered to himself. He had already learned from the memories of old ancestor Dangyue that the seven great star lords of the chaotic devil star region were the disciples of the Seven Fiends sect. In other words, the entire chaotic devil star region was actually the territory of the Seven Fiends sect. The sect master of the Seven Fiends sect was a mid-human profound realm life immortal realm expert. Other than that, the members of the sect were all rogue immortals. Ning Fan knew that he was not a match for the sect master of the Seven Fiends sect. However, he had full confidence that he would not be afraid of the sect master. Was the Black Devil escaping technique a joke? Perhaps it was not enough to escape from the pursuit of a true immortal realm cultivator. However, there was almost no life immortal realm cultivators who could catch up to Ning Fan. How could the life-saving technique of the old devil when he was young be weak? Ignoring the threat of the Seven Fiends sect, Ning Fan began to search for the spoils of war in the ruins of the chaotic devil palace. The wealth of the entire cultivation planet was usually concentrated in the star capital. Along the way, Ning Fan had obtained more than 2 million Dao crystals. As for the other items, they were all given to the human cauldrons in the cauldron world. To the current Ning Fan, there was almost nothing useful on the entire chaotic devil star. The only things that were slightly useful were the 2 star discs that he obtained from the storage pouch of the chaotic devil star lord. One of them was the star disc of the chaotic devil star region, while the other one was the star disc of the Seven Fiends star region. The Seven Fiends star region was the foundation of the Seven Fiends sect. Just as he finished searching for the treasures, the shrill whistling of 6 rays of traveling light resounded in the vast sky. They were the 6 star lords who had arrived late. When the 6 of them saw the ruins, their faces were filled with shock. They knew that they were late because they did not know whether the chaotic devil star lord was already dead or not. It would be fine if he was not dead. But if he is, according to the order of the Seven Fiends sect, the 7 great star lords must advance and retreat together when they encounter external enemies. If one of them dies, the other 6 would be held responsible. The 6 of them stared coldly at Ning Fan, who was not far away, and asked sternly. Where's the chaotic devil Star Lord? He died in my hands. Ning Fan replied coldly. You're courting death. The 6 of them were enraged. If the chaotic devil Star Lord dies, they would certainly be held responsible. All of this was because of Ning Fan. One of the 7 fiend Star Lords could no longer hold back the anger in his heart. He held a flying sword which was surrounded by the shadow of a dragon and turned it into a ray of sword light, aiming at Ning Fan. He was a sword cultivator. His cultivation base was just a step away from attaining the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. In the eyes of this sword cultivator, there was only sharp killing intent. He wanted to chop Ning Fan into minced meat to vent the hatred in his heart. Those devil cultivators who were lucky enough to survive were all killed by the sword light before they could escape. It was enough to show how powerful this sword was. Space vortex. Ning Fan uttered 2 words indifferently. He just pointed his finger at the sky without revealing any expression. This sword cultivator Star Lord was not weak. However, in front of Ning Fan, he would not be able to survive even 1 round. A massive and illusory vortex suddenly appeared beneath the sword cultivator Star Lord's feet. Before he could react, he was sucked into the void of the vortex. Then, a miserable shriek resounded across the vast sky. What kind of ability is this? It can actually kill the ghost sword Star Lord in an instant. The remaining 5 Star Lords were greatly shocked. Even the Star Lord who was at the 8 break realm showed an extremely fearful expression. He took a large step forward and stared at Ning Fan coldly. His aura force of the 8 break realm swept across the area and said loudly. Fellow Daoist Qian Qiu, you've killed 2 Star Lords of my chaotic devil star region in just 1 day. This grudge has been formed today. The next time we meet, it will be the day you die. Let's go. As soon as he finished speaking, he let out a cold snort and turned around, wanting to leave. The other 4 Star Lords also had the same expression. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with mockery. These people obviously wanted to run away, but they still pretended to be confident. Are they trying to make me fearful? Unfortunately, Ning Fan was never a person who knew how to show mercy. Since he had come, he could not leave anymore. Die. 5 illusory vortexes suddenly appeared beneath the feet of the 5 Star Lords. 4 Star Lords were directly dragged into the void of the vortex. They let out a miserable shriek and died a violent death. As soon as the burly man saw Ning Fan killing them, his expression changed drastically. Seeing that both of his feet were sinking into the vortex bit by bit and could not get out, he gritted his teeth and used his finger light to forcefully cut off both of his feet. Then, he used the blood light to escape. This man was indeed a ruthless person. Unfortunately, he had encountered Ning Fan. No matter how ruthless he was, he could not escape from Ning Fan. Ning Fan casually took out the black devil scissors. A ray of black light flashed and the burly man was cut into 2. Then, he captured his primordial spirit and searched his soul and memories. After a long time, he devoured his primordial spirit and collected the storage pouches of the 6 Star Lords. Ning Fan flipped through the pouches and found out that most of the 6 Star Lords only had 2 star discs. One of them led to the Chaos Devil Star region while the other led to the 7 Fiend Star region. Only the 8 Star Lord had 3 star discs. The extra one led to the Lesser Marsh Star region. The main star of the Lesser Marsh Star region was a mid-grade cultivation star. It was guarded by several Life Immortal Realm cultivators. That place was not within the territory of the 7 Fiends sect. It was a famous trading star in the nearby star regions. If I go there, I can probably buy a star disc that leads to the Immortal Soul Star. With that thought in mind, Ning Fan did not bother to look at the dead and silent battlefield. He stepped on the ancient golden sword and flew away from the Chaos Devil Star region. Since he had killed all the 7 Star Lords of the Chaos Devil Star region, he might as well plunder 7 other cultivation stars. Buying a star disc required money. Thus, Ning Fan naturally wanted to plunder more Dao crystals. After a round of plundering, Ning Fan had a total of 13 million Dao crystals. He flew towards the Lesser Marsh Star region in a ray of traveling light. 3 days after he left, the death of the 7 star lords of the Chaos Devil Star region shocked a few star regions nearby. The 7 Fiends sect was enraged. They sent out 4 rogue immortals to hunt down the murderer and even offered a handsome reward. Arrogant disciple Qianqiuzi, a cultivator at the 7-star breaking realm who slaughtered the 7-star region, will be rewarded with 30 million Dao crystals. The reward of 30 million Dao crystals was enough to attract many rogue immortal level bounty hunters to take action. Eastern Heaven was in chaos and wars. Naturally, there were many devil cultivators in those places. Ning Fan was not the only one who had killed star lords and plundered cultivation stars. Many other devil cultivators had done the same thing. There were very few devil cultivators below the life immortal realm who could be rewarded with 30 million Dao crystals. On the other hand, the reward for life immortal realm devil cultivators was much higher. The lowest reward was a few 100 million. However, it was rare for anyone to have the guts to hunt a life immortal realm devil cultivator. 3 months passed in the blink of an eye. Ning Fan finally arrived at the Lesser Marsh Star region. Along the way, he was attacked by several groups of cultivators. Most of them came for the reward. 30 million Dao crystals were not enough to tempt a life immortal realm devil cultivator. The strongest cultivator who came was only a rogue immortal. Of course, all of them died in Ning Fan's hands. Even the 4 rogue immortals of the 7 Fiends sect died in his hands. These people did not earn any rewards, but they gave Ning Fan nearly 7 million Dao crystals instead. Ning Fan already had 20 million Dao crystals with him. He had even obtained the star plates of more than 10 star regions. All of them were the star plates of low-grade star regions which did not have many uses. There were 309 cultivation stars in the Lesser Marsh Star region in total. The main star was a mid-grade cultivation star while the rest were low-grade cultivation stars. When he arrived at the Lesser Marsh Star region, Ning Fan consciously restrained his malevolent qi. This star region was guarded by more than 1 life immortal realm cultivators. Ning Fan naturally knew that this was not a place where he could act wantonly. Besides, his purpose of coming here this time was just to inquire about the immortal soul planet and purchase the star plates. He did not want to cause any unnecessary trouble. 7 days later, Ning Fan arrived at the Lesser Marsh Star. The Lesser Marsh Star was a mid-grade cultivation star. It was as large as 100 low-grade cultivation stars. Outside the Lesser Marsh Star, there was a layer of faint blue formation light barrier. Outside the barrier, there were groups of void fragmentation realm cultivators patrolling. Some people could enter and leave the Shaozi planet freely, but others had to go through a check before they could enter. Ning Fan noticed that those who could enter the Lesser Marsh Star on their own were all people with identity tokens. In order to enter the Lesser Marsh Star, he would first need to obtain a token from the patrolling cultivators. Halt your steps. Do you have a token? A group of void fragmentation realm cultivators blocked Ning Fan's path with arrogant eyes. It's my first time coming to the Lesser Marsh Star. I don't have a token with me. May I know how I can obtain one? Pay 100,000 Dao crystals and you will get 1 token. The group of void fragmentation realm cultivators still spoke in an arrogant tone. Ning Fan was slightly stunned. Then, he took out 100,000 Dao crystals and obtained the token from the patrolling cultivators. He did not expect that he did not need to verify his identity to obtain the token. Well, it makes sense. Who would expose their true identity when they are out in the world? It was more practical to charge money for entry. 1 token was worth 100,000 Dao crystals. Just by selling this token, the Lesser Marsh Star would be able to earn a lot of profit. The moment Ning Fan entered the formation light of the Lesser Marsh Star, he suddenly had a feeling that he was being probed. He looked at the blue formation light without batting an eyelid and fell into deep thought. This blue formation not only had defensive abilities, but it could also extend the divine sense of a life celestial cultivator to the entire cultivation planet. In other words, all the cultivators that entered Shaoza's star were under the surveillance of life immortals. If they did anything that was detrimental to Shaoza's star, they would be hunted down by a large number of experts. Now that he was on this cultivation planet, he couldn't act arrogantly anymore and had to restrain himself. Ning Fan passed through the atmospheric layer and descended all the way to the ground. Only when he landed on the ground did he find out why this Shaoza star was called a trading star. The entire Shaoza planet was divided into East and West planets. The East planet was filled with sects, while the West planet was filled with trading cities of various sizes. The trading cities of Lesser Marsh planet were divided into 4 levels: Heaven, Earth, Mystic, and Yellow. Most of the Yellow level trading cities sold items that nascent soul and soul formation cultivators needed. The Profound City of Exchange was a paradise for void refinement cultivators. If it was a void fragmentation realm cultivator, most of them would go to the Earth grade trading city. As for the Sky level trading city, the items sold there would tempt even life immortals. On the entire Shaoza planet, there were 100,000 Yellow level trading cities, 9,000 Black level trading cities, and 800 Earth level trading cities. But there was only one Sky level trading city. There was a teleportation formation between each of the trading cities. Thus, the traffic was unimpeded. In each of the trading cities, there were specialized cultivators to receive visitors. As long as one paid a certain amount of immortal jade and Dao crystals, one could obtain the information they wanted from these cultivators. Ning Fan went straight to an Earth-level trading city and purchased the information he wanted from a Divine Transformation Realm old man. May I know what Senior wants to purchase? The Divine Transformation Realm old man kept the immortal jade and asked respectfully with his head lowered. I want to buy an astrolabe. Ning Fan said indifferently. An astrolabe? If it's an astrolabe from a low-grade star region, you can buy some in an Earth-level trading city. If you want to buy an astrolabe from a mid-grade star region or above, I'm afraid you can only buy it in a Heaven-level trading city. Is that so? Ning Fan remained silent for a while and asked again. Where is the Immortal Soul Star located? The Immortal Soul Star. As soon as the Divine Transformation Realm old man heard the name of the star, his eyes flashed with fear. Is there something wrong with this Immortal Soul Star? Ning Fan noticed the unusual expression on the old man's face and frowned. Cough cough. The reason why Senior wants to buy an astrolabe isn't because you want to go to the Immortal Soul Star, is it? I wonder why Senior wants to go to such a dangerous place. You just need to answer my question. Ning Fan's eyes darkened. The old man immediately broke out in cold sweat and cupped his fists to apologize. What a joke. Why did he ask about Ning Fan's secret? Since the Immortal Soul Star was so dangerous, Ning Fan naturally had his reasons for wanting to go there. However, it was not something that a small Divine Transformation Realm old man could ask. To be honest, the Immortal Soul Star is located in a high-grade star region, Ancient Star Region. It used to be a high-grade cultivation planet. Used to. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. A high-grade cultivation planet was naturally a cultivation planet that was guarded by a true immortal. Could it be that the word used to means? Yes, it used to be. Millions of years ago, a great war broke out in the Ancient Star Region. During that war, all 16 true immortals of the Ancient Star Region were killed. The Slaughter Palace only sent out one true immortal assassin. Since then, the Ancient Star Region has become a land without a master. Countless cultivators and bandits have been killing and plundering in that place. Speaking of this, the Divine Transformation Realm old man's eyes were filled with deep fear. What he was afraid of was not the bandits but the great war that took the lives of 16 true immortals. Slaughter Palace. Ning Fan's eyes widened in shock. The experts of the Slaughter Palace were really powerful. A true immortal had actually slaughtered all the true immortals of an entire star region. If Ning Fan was really qualified to become an elder of the Slaughter Palace, wouldn't he be able to sweep across the Eastern Heaven by using the Elder Token to gather 100 true immortal assassins? Of course, this kind of thought was just a thought. That elder token was a hot potato and it was not something that he could control. Ning Fan's voice was not loud, but the 3 words Slaughter Palace had entered the ears of many old monsters who had good hearing. There were more than 10 Void Fragmentation Realm experts on the long street who heard Ning Fan's voice. As soon as they heard the 3 words Slaughter Palace, all of their faces turned pale and turned to leave. It was as if they had heard something extremely terrifying. Shoo! Senior, lower your voice. It's best not to mention the name of this force. There was once a true immortal who got drunk during a spiritual wine party. He talked about the deeds of the Slaughter Palace with a few of his friends. He seemed to have said a few impulsive words. After that, he was killed by the assassins of the Slaughter Palace. It's best not to mention this name if you can. The Divine Transformation Realm old man had already transmitted his voice to Ning Fan. Ning Fan nodded his head. After a moment of silence, he asked, if I want to go to the Immortal Soul Planet, I must buy an astrolabe of the Ancient Star Region. Am I right? Yes. Is this astrolabe for sale in the Heaven Grade Trade City? Senior, you must be joking. It's extremely difficult to produce an astrolabe of a high-grade star region and its price is extremely high. Even if the Heaven Grade Trade City has it, they won't sell it directly. In a few days, there will be an auction in the Heaven Grade Trade City. It's said that a batch of astrolabes of high-grade star regions will be participating in the auction. Senior, you can try your luck there. In recent years, there are very few cultivators who would go to the Ancient Star Region. Naturally, not many of them would produce an astrolabe of the Ancient Star Region. Whether you can find an astrolabe of the Ancient Star Region or not will depend on your luck. Luck, huh? Ning Fan then gave the Divine Transformation Realm old man some immortal jade. The latter naturally thanked him profusely. Ning Fan did not stay in the Earth Grade Trade City for too long. With the power of the teleportation formation, he directly teleported to the outside of the Heaven Grade Trade City. However, before he could enter the Heaven Grade Trade City, he was stopped by 2 burly men at the 8th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. Those whose cultivation bases are lower than the 8th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm are not allowed to enter the Heaven Grade Trade City. Ning Fan frowned. He did not expect the Heaven Grade Trade City to have such a rule. Inwardly, he was thinking if he should reveal the strength of his incarnation and enter the Heaven Grade Trade City. All of a sudden, Ning Fan was slightly stunned. He pointed at a skinny young man who was dressed as a man. Her cultivation base is only at the 4th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. Why can she enter? Could it be because she has a Fate Immortal Realm cultivator following her? She is a high-grade 6th Revolution Pill Master. Pill Masters whose pill refinement mastery has reached the high-grade 6th Revolution can also enter. I see. Ning Fan's mind moved. The power of his peak grade 6th Revolution medicine soul slightly spread out so that the 2 burly men could sense it. The 2 of them were also experienced and knowledgeable people. As soon as they saw the strength of Ning Fan's medicine soul, they immediately squeezed out a smile and said, I didn't expect this master to be a peak grade 6th Revolution pill master. Forgive me for my rudeness. With master's identity, of course, you can enter the Heaven Grade Trade City. There are many medicine shops in the eastern part of the city. If master needs spiritual medicines, you can go there to buy them. There is a medicine shop in the western part of the city. Master can sell and buy finished pills there. Thank you. Ning Fan cupped his fists at the 2 of them and entered the Heaven Grade Trade City. The young man who had just entered the city looked at Ning Fan with a strange look and asked in the direction where there was no one around him. How old is this person's bone age? More than 1,000 years. Suddenly, a voice transmitted into the young man's sea of consciousness. What? His pill refinement talent is actually so much higher than mine. It was hard to tell whether the young man was happy or dissatisfied. His expression was very complicated. Uncle Wei, how about letting him accompany me to the Supreme Pill's sacred region? Grandaunt, please don't joke with me. His identity is unknown. How can he accompany you to that kind of holy land for pill refinement masters? I was just saying it casually. The young man sighed in frustration. Sect master has already chosen the person who will go with you. I don't like him. I don't want to go with him. The young man's clear eyes revealed a hint of disgust. He stomped his feet and walked towards the center of the city. A life immortal realm cultivator with the surname Wei who was hiding in the dark immediately chased after him. Chapter 703. The heavenly level trading city was not big. There were only dozens of markets. Most of the cultivators in the city were at the 8th fragmentation realm and above. There were also life immortal realm cultivators. Occasionally, there would be life immortal realm cultivators flying across the sky. They would always attract the attention of many void fragmentation realm cultivators. Ning Fan's eyes turned slightly gloomy. There were many life immortal realm cultivators here. Most of them were here to buy the items they needed. He had to keep a low profile. He must not cause any trouble in the vicinity of Little Zay planet. After visiting more than 40 markets in the city, Ning Fan managed to buy more than 10 star discs of low-grade star domains and 2 mid-grade star domains. However, he did not see any star plates of high-grade star domains, let alone the ancient star plate. It seemed like what the Divine Transformation Realm old man said was true. All high-grade star plates would only be auctioned in the heavenly level trading city. Ning Fan raised his head and looked at the giant golden palace floating in the sky with a frown. That palace was the only auction house in the city. It was said that a life immortal realm cultivator of Little Zay planet was personally overseeing it. This city would hold an auction every 10 years. There was still a year before the next auction would be held. According to the rules of Little Zay planet, the items that would be auctioned in the past auctions would be announced in advance. Cultivators who want to participate in the auction would only need to spend a small amount of Dao crystals to buy information jade slips. Other than the final items that would not be announced, all the other auction items would be known in advance. Ning Fan bought an information jade slip from the auction house and went to a spiritual tea house in the northern part of the city. He sat by the window and sipped his tea while carefully reading the jade slip in his hand. After a long time, Ning Fan finished reading the jade slip. His brows were tightly knitted together and he remained silent. Among the items that would be auctioned in this auction, the ancient star plate that Ning Fan wanted was included. However, the price of the star plate far exceeded Ning Fan's expectations. The star plate of a low-grade star domain only required several tens of thousands of Dao crystals. The most expensive one would not exceed 100,000 Dao crystals. The star plate of a mid-grade star domain only required a few 100,000 Dao crystals. The most expensive one would not exceed 1 million Dao crystals. The star plate of a high-grade star domain, however, cost more than 10 million Dao crystals. As for the star plate of the ancient star domain, its starting price was as high as 50 million Dao crystals. 50 million Dao crystals. And this was only the starting price. After a round of bidding, the price of the star plate could go even higher, possibly even surpassing 100 million. He touched his storage pouch and sighed gently. He only had 20 million Dao crystals with him. It was not enough for him to bid for the star plate of the ancient star domain. There were many good items in this auction. For example, the Yuhua pill. The starting price of the low-grade 8th Revolution Ascension pill was as high as 30 million Dao crystals. Similarly, it was not something that Ning Fan could afford. The Life Immortal Dao fruit. The starting price was as high as 1 billion Dao crystals. This was not something that Ning Fan could dream of. These things were actually not the final items. He really didn't know what kind of priceless item the finale would be. Ning Fan sipped his tea while muttering to himself. For the first time, he felt that he was very, very poor. He was determined to obtain the ancient star domain's astrolabe. For the sake of the immortal soul grass and for Mu Weiliang, he had to obtain the astrolabe no matter what. If he didn't have enough money, he had to think of a way to get it. In this heaven-ranked trading city, there were countless ways to make money. If your alchemy skills are high enough, you can make money by refining pills. If you are in urgent need of money, you can also sell your treasures for money. There was also a gambling house here. You can try your luck there. Ning Fan pondered carefully. With his current peak 6th revolution pill refinement realm, he could only concoct low-grade 7th revolution pills at most. He could not make a lot of money from refining 7th grade pills. Even if he painstakingly concocted pills for a year in the profound Yin world, he could only earn a few 100,000 Dao crystals at most. Ning Fan threw the idea of concocting pills to the back of his mind. Should he sell some of his treasures in exchange for Dao crystals? The market price of a small Kiliacosm world treasure was around 50 million Dao crystals. The cauldron ring and Yuanyao jade were valuable items. Unfortunately, these items had a special meaning to Ning Fan. It was impossible for him to sell them. As for the incense demon puppet, black devil scissors and other treasures, they were also valuable items. Ning Fan would not sell them. As for the other treasures, they were either important, not suitable to be exposed, or worthless. For a moment, Ning Fan really did not have anything to sell. Speechlessly, he took out the astrolabe that Meng Xuanzi gave him. Only now did he know how valuable this astrolabe was. An astrolabe of a high-grade star domain could be auctioned for more than 100 million Dao crystals. If this astrolabe of the Emperor's star domain was sold, it would probably fetch a sky-high price. Of course, Ning Fan would not sell this item. This item was related to a North Heaven immortal emperor. If he sold it, he would certainly attract the secret attention of countless old monsters and cause endless troubles. After keeping the astrolabe, Ning Fan took out the yellowed promissory note. It would be great if he could find Wei Wuji who owed him money. Then, he would be able to solve his current problem of lacking money. Unfortunately, Ning Fan did not know Wei Wuji's appearance, cultivation base and identity. The only thing he knew was that this person was a cultivator from the Eastern Heaven immortal world and had some unclear entanglements with Old Devil. In the Eastern Heaven, there were at least a few 100,000 people called Wei Wuji. How would Ning Fan know which one of them was Wei Wuji who owed him money? Even if he knew, where could he find this person in such a short time? Unexpectedly, the dignified Great Devil Ning would also be troubled by his lack of money one day. Should I go to the casino to try my luck? My luck seems to have always been good. Just as Ning Fan was thinking about this, his eyes suddenly turned gloomy. He saw a red-robed old man sitting opposite of Ning Fan with a smile on his face. He cupped his fists and said to Ning Fan with a smile, "Fellow Taoist seems to be in a difficult situation. I wonder if this old man can help you." This was a rogue immortal cultivator. The baleful qi on his body was very strong, but he concealed it very well. This person looked kind on the surface, but he was not necessarily a kind person. "Who are you?" Ning Fan's eyes were so sharp that they actually pierced the red-robed old man's sea of consciousness. The old man's eyes slightly trembled. Then, he narrowed them. He seemed to have underestimated Ning Fan. However, it was not a big deal. He. It doesn't matter who I am. What's important is that I have a way to make money. I can help fellow Taoist earn Dao crystals. If I'm not mistaken, there should be something that fellow Taoist needs in this auction. Looking at fellow Taoist's expression, it seems like you still lack some Dao crystals. As soon as the red-robed old man finished speaking, he quietly looked at Ning Fan, as if he was waiting for Ning Fan to ask him a question. Ask him what exactly his way to make money is. Ning Fan gave the red-robed old man a deep look. Then, he subtly glanced at the long street outside the window and continued to sip his spiritual tea. His eyes seemed to be deep in thought, but he did not answer the old man. The red-robed old man did not get angry. After giving an awkward smile, he continued. "Why don't you ask me what my way to make money is? What I want to know is why you want to find me, a mere 7th fragmented realm cultivator, to conspire with you when you have such a way to make money." As if he could see the vigilance in Ning Fan's eyes, the old man chuckled and explained. He. If I'm not mistaken, fellow Taoist's pill refinement should be above the high-grade 6th revolution, since you can enter the heaven-grade trading city with your 7th fragmented realm cultivation base, right? So what if I am? Hee hee. To tell you the truth, I found an ancient herb that is 1 million years old on an abandoned planet outside of Lesser Marsh Star. That herb has already gained sentience and is hiding inside the planet. I can't find it no matter how hard I try. That's why I need to borrow the power of fellow Daoist's medicine soul to find it. Abandoned planet. 1 million years old ancient herb, Ning Fan muttered to himself. His eyes were drifting around. No one knew what he was thinking about. The so-called abandoned planet was a cultivation planet that did not have any spiritual chi and was not suitable for cultivation. As for 1 million years old ancient herbs, they were extremely precious items. If a mortal consumes 1 million years old ancient herb, they would not die. Instead, they could directly ascend to immortality. The market price of a 1 million years old ancient herb was usually more than several billion Dao crystals. If that abandoned planet really had a 1 million years old ancient herb, Ning Fan really wanted to make a fortune. Unfortunately, Ning Fan's eyes indifferently swept across the red-robed old man. His expression did not change at all. The old man's eyes slightly narrowed. After thinking for a while, he took out a storage pouch from his sleeve. There were 2 million Dao crystals in the pouch. If fellow Daoist helps me find the herb, I'm willing to pay you 5 million Dao crystals. These 2 million Dao crystals can be considered as a deposit. I'll pay you first. It's enough to prove my sincerity. I also know that 5 million Dao crystals is a little too little for fellow Daoist to help me find 1 million years old ancient herbs. However, fellow Daoist also needs to understand that you are just a 7th fragmentation realm cultivator. As for that 1 million years old ancient herb, it has already gained sentience and its strength is not inferior to that of a rogue immortal. You can't help me capture the ancient herb and I don't need you to do that either. I also don't intend to share the extra money with you. The red-robed old man did not mince his words. He did not feel that there was anything wrong with what he said. Ning Fan's eyes flickered a few times. With an inexplicable meaning, he accepted the 2 million Dao crystals. When will we depart? Immediately. The red-robed old man replied. Where is that abandoned planet? South of the Lesser Marsh Star. I can't tell you the exact location for the time being. Fellow Daoist just needs to follow me closely and you will naturally reach that abandoned planet. Is that so? In that case, let's go. Ning Fan looked at the people in the tea house. Many of them were giving him strange looks but he did not expose them. Fellow Daoist is really a straightforward person. Ha! The red-robed old man laughed heartily. With a flash, he turned into a ray of fiery red traveling light and dashed out of the Lesser Marsh Star. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with a hint of sarcasm. He followed closely behind the old man in a flash. The two of them traveled all the way south. After traveling for about 10 days, they finally saw an abandoned planet. The red-robed old man landed on the planet. Ning Fan, however, stood in midair and did not descend. Hee hee. Fellow Daoist, you must be very tired after traveling for 10 days. Why don't you take a rest on this planet? When your magic power is replenished, we will begin to look for ancient herbs. What do you think? Ning Fan ignored the old man and continued to stand in midair. However, the hint of sarcasm in his eyes was no longer concealed. The red-robed old man seemed to have understood something. His face instantly turned gloomy and he sneered, revealing a ghastly look of killing intent. When did you see through my plan? From the very beginning, Ning Fan was not a fool. He did not believe that there would be such a good thing that would fall from the sky and that someone would conspire with him for wealth. Humph. Fellow Daoist, you clearly know that I have ulterior motives but you still dare to come here with me. You really have guts. You are indeed worthy of being the Devil Lord who slaughtered the 7 Stars bloody massacre. Fellow Daoist Qianqiu, we are short of money recently. How about we borrow your head? The red-robed old man clapped his hands. The 6 rogue immortals who had been lying in ambush immediately revealed themselves. With a flash, they surrounded Ning Fan in the middle. Including the red-robed old man, there were a total of 7 rogue immortals here. Each of these rogue immortals had greedy eyes. They wanted to kill Ning Fan in exchange for the red reward. Ning Fan's eyes indifferently swept across the 7 rogue immortals. When he discovered that 2 of them were actually devils who offered bounties, he nodded with satisfaction. One of them would reward 8 million Dao crystals while the other would reward 15 million Dao crystals. I won't hide it from fellow Daoist. The reason I came here is because I'm short on money and I want to borrow your heads. Ha ha ha. The 7 rogue immortals, including the red-robed old man, seemed to have heard something extremely ridiculous. They raised their heads and laughed out loud. A 7 fragmentation realm cultivator actually dared to challenge 7 rogue immortals. He is indeed arrogant. No wonder he dared to provoke the 7 fiends sect. Hee hee. Kill. Leave behind your primordial spirit and your head. After that, destroy your primordial spirit and seal the remaining primordial spirit power into your head. Bring it to the slaughter pavilion in the western part of the heaven-level trading city to exchange for the red reward. What the red-robed old man said was the method to exchange for the red reward in the eastern heaven immortal world. The slaughter pavilion was a branch of the slaughter palace. It specialized in accepting and issuing bounty missions and collecting intermediary fees. Of course, when the disciples of the slaughter palace went out for adventures, they would also accept some missions with high rewards from the slaughter pavilion. As soon as the red-robed old man gave the order, the other 6 rogue immortals immediately released a vast amount of magic power and attacked Ning Fan with all kinds of divine abilities. Ning Fan did not dodge or evade. Instead, faint black starlight floated around his body. When the divine abilities of the 6 rogue immortals landed on Ning Fan's body, the injuries they inflicted were not light but they were healed in an instant. Star healing technique. Besides, this young man's star healing technique is very powerful. He can actually withstand our attacks without suffering any damage. The 7 rogue immortals were shocked. At the same time, Ning Fan moved. With a single step, he turned into a black robe and raised his hand to extract their souls. His cultivation base instantly rose to the limit of the rogue immortal realm. His body turned into a black shadow and dissipated. At the same time, the 7 rogue immortals felt a sense of impending death. This old ancestor Qianqiu's divine abilities are not weak. Only life immortals can kill him. Run quickly. The red-robed old man gritted his teeth and gave the order to everyone. Each of them fled in different directions. They were not slow in escaping but the black shadow was even faster. A one-sided battle unfolded in the void. Ning Fan's current magic power was even stronger than ordinary rogue immortals. Ordinary rogue immortals would not be able to withstand the black torrent spirit splitting technique at all. The 7 rogue immortals were all trapped in the black shadow, resisting the black shadow's attack with great difficulty. It was too late for regrets. If they knew that this old ancestor Qianqiu was so ruthless, they would not have dared to come and take the red reward. They had been careless. How could a devil with a bounty of 30 million Dao crystals be an easy target? Bang! 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 One by one, the rogue immortals were killed in the blood mist. In the end, except for the red-robed old man, all 6 rogue immortals were killed. The 2 rogue immortals who were given the red reward were specially dealt with by Ning Fan. After their primordial spirits were destroyed, the remaining power of their primordial spirits was sealed in their respective heads. After sealing their bloody heads, he kept them into his storage pouch. The black shadow twisted, intending to kill the red-robed old man. The red-robed old man's body trembled. He gritted his teeth and said with extreme fear, I still have my primordial yang. Since he still had his primordial yang, it meant that he was an old virgin. In the cultivation world, there were definitely not many old virgins who had cultivated to the rogue immortal realm. The red-robed old man said that just to save his life. Even though he also knew that he would end up in a terrible state if he revealed this secret. You still have your primordial yang, huh? Ning Fan's cold laughter sounded from the black shadow. He severely injured the red-robed old man with a single strike but did not kill him. The illusion technique of his left eye flashed, causing the old man to fall unconscious. He took out a peak immortal void realm rope magic treasure and tied the old man up like a dumpling. The red-robed old man's storage pouch and the storage pouch of the other 6 rogue immortals all belonged to Ning Fan. In this battle, Ning Fan obtained a total of 8 million Dao crystals. In addition to the 2 million Dao crystals that the red-robed old man used to confuse Ning Fan, he obtained a total of 10 million Dao crystals. The heads of the 2 devil cultivators were still worth 23 million Dao crystals. After deducting the intermediary fee, Ning Fan could still get a huge sum of money. As for this red-robed old man, he was a valuable object. A human cauldron. Moreover, he was a male cauldron with his primordial yang. To some life-immortal devils, this red-robed old man was very attractive. If they use a secret technique to increase his cultivation base, he would be a life-immortal male cauldron. After a night of passion, the life-immortal devils would obtain great benefits while the red-robed old man would definitely die. It was not difficult to sell this kind of male cauldron for 10 million Dao crystals. This was the reason why Ning Fan spared his life. Ning Fan's eyes revealed a hint of disdain when he casually searched the old man's soul and memories, turning him into an idiot. It turned out that this red-robed old man was a habitual offender on Little Zay Star. He often tricked the bounty devils who had just entered Little Zay Star and killed them to obtain rewards. No wonder the people in the tea house looked at him with such strange eyes. No one reminded Ning Fan to be careful of the red-robed old man. This was the cold and indifferent cultivation world. It was also the cultivation world that Ning Fan hated. After keeping the old man, Ning Fan returned to Little Zay Star. He went to the male cauldron pavilion in the northern part of the city. That place specialized in selling and purchasing male cauldrons that still had primordial yang energy. Even though the red-robed old man had become an idiot, it did not stop others from plucking him. This old man who often killed people for their wealth would never expect that he would be captured by Ning Fan one day and turned into an idiot to be sold as a male cauldron. After selling the red-robed old man, Ning Fan earned 10 million Dao crystals. He now had 40 million Dao crystals on him. His figure flashed and he headed to the slaughter pavilion. Even though Ning Fan was set up as a reward, the slaughter pavilion had its own rules. The devil cultivators who came to offer rewards were still guests even if they were set up as rewards. The cultivators of the slaughter pavilion would not attack them. Every time a devil with a bounty completes a mission in the slaughter pavilion, they would be given 1 year of safety. Within this 1 year, the disciples of the slaughter pavilion would definitely not assassinate the devil who offered the bounty. If the total bounty of the other devils who were killed by the devil who offered the bounty exceeded their own bounty, the disciples of the slaughter pavilion would completely give up on killing that person. Of course, it was not the disciples of the slaughter pavilion's concern whether the others would kill the devil or not. Other than obtaining Dao crystals, the other benefit that Ning Fan got from killing the other devils was that he could avoid confronting the slaughter pavilion. This time, the total bounty of the 2 devils he killed had already reached 23 million Dao crystals. As long as he kills another devil with a bounty of 7 million Dao crystals, he would no longer need to worry about the disciples of the slaughter pavilion attacking him. Fellow Daoist Qianqiu, are you here to submit a mission? In the slaughter pavilion, a middle-aged man in green robes who looked refined squinted his eyes and looked at Ning Fan with a smile. He was a rogue immortal cultivator. Even though this person was a rogue immortal, he gave Ning Fan a sense of danger. Ning Fan's eyes turned slightly cold. If he were to fight this person, even if he wins, he would suffer serious injuries. This person was not one of the 7 rogue immortals. Moreover, this person was able to see through his origin at first glance. Ning Fan could not help but feel apprehensive. It seemed like he had already been targeted by the people of the slaughter pavilion as soon as he entered the Lesser Marsh planet. If he did not come to submit the bounty this time, there would most likely be disciples of the slaughter pavilion assassinating him. The people who would come to assassinate him would definitely not be the life immortals of the slaughter pavilion. Even though Ning Fan was not afraid of them, he did not want to get involved with a colossal organization like the slaughter pavilion. That's right. I am indeed here to submit a mission. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Fan flicked his sleeve and 2 heads of the rogue immortals fell on the counter in front of the man in green robes. All of a sudden, the man in green robes opened his eyes and said in astonishment. Crimson Ghost Lu Wei with a bounty of 8 million Dao crystals. Channel of the Devil Formation with a bounty of 15 million Dao crystals. Fellow Daoist is indeed a person of the 7 Stars Bloody Slaughter Pavilion. You have just entered the Lesser Marsh planet and you have already killed 2 bounty devils. How much bounty can I get? Ning Fan asked directly. 80%. 4 million Dao crystals. As soon as the man in green robes finished speaking, he transmitted a few words to the inner room. Then, a little boy with bloodshot eyes walked out of the counter and handed over a heavy storage pouch to Ning Fan. Even though the little boy was only an intermediate gold core expert, the baleful chi on his body was extremely strong. He had even killed a peak gold core expert before. Is a little boy of the slaughter pavilion so powerful? Ning Fan withdrew his gaze, kept the Dao crystals, turned around and left. He was not surprised that the slaughter pavilion would take 20% of the bounty. Looking at Ning Fan's back, the eyes of the man in green robes suddenly became filled with interest. A good seedling. If there is a chance, this kid may be able to join my slaughter pavilion. Someone, pass on my order. The people who were supposed to be sent to kill Qianqiuzi are to withdraw immediately. Within 2 years, they are not allowed to attack him. After walking out of the slaughter pavilion, Ning Fan looked at the void fragmentation old monsters walking on the long street, as if he was looking for those bounty devils. Killing people to collect bounties was indeed the fastest way to earn money. Unfortunately, even though he found a few bounty devils on the planet, they wouldn't leave the planet in a short period of time. Ning Fan didn't dare to take action on the planet. Even the red-robed old man and the others wouldn't dare to take action until Ning Fan was lured out of the planet. Ning Fan already had 4 million Dao crystals, which was only enough to pay for the starting price of the ancient star plate. If the price was raised, Ning Fan wouldn't be able to buy the ancient star plate. Sure enough, he still had to go to the casino to try his luck. After all, a fat sheep like the red-robed old man could only be found by chance. Oh. This fellow Daoist seems to be in a dilemma. Do you not have enough Dao crystals to spend? This humble Daoist knows an excellent place that can increase the number of Dao crystals by several folds within a day. Would you like to go there and try your luck? A rogue immortal old Daoist with a face full of smiles suddenly appeared in front of Ning Fan and cupped his fists. Ning Fan was speechless. Did he look like a fat sheep? Did he look gullible? Why did he meet a fraud again? The place of earning money that you mentioned, could it be the Immortal Fortune Casino in the southern part of the city? Ning Fan asked indifferently. Fellow Daoist is really a wise man. You actually know what I'm talking about. To be honest, I'm good at reading faces and observing people's luck. Fellow Daoist's luck is just ordinary. I suppose your luck has always been poor. However, today is different. The secrets of heaven have shifted to the east. Fellow Daoist's luck actually has the tendency of reversing the dragon's flow. There is a saying in the Tao of luck. If one's luck is black, when the will of heaven is reversed, the secrets of heaven will shift to the east. If one's luck is extremely black, one's immortal luck can be reversed. It can't be wrong. Fellow Daoist's luck today is extremely good. It is comparable to the luck of an immortal emperor. If you go to the Immortal Fortune Casino, you will certainly reap great rewards. The old Daoist spoke like a fraud. Of course, he could see that Ning Fan's luck was close to black. It was extremely bad luck. When he said that the secrets of heaven have shifted to the east, the secrets of heaven will be reversed, and one's immortal luck can be reversed, he wasn't lying. As the saying goes, when things reach an extreme, they will move in the opposite direction. No matter how unlucky a person is, there will also be a time when he or she gets lucky. When the secrets of heaven shift to the east and the secrets of heaven are leaked, the cultivators with the worst luck would usually be blessed with great luck. Of course, it would only last for a short while. However, the old Taoist knew that this wasn't the time for the secrets of heaven to shift to the east. If Ning Fan went to the casino now, he would only lose all of his fortune. He would definitely not get that little bit of luck. He was a fraud and a shill. He specially pulled cultivators with bad luck like Ning Fan to deliver money to the casino and get a commission. When Ning Fan came out from the slaughter pavilion, he saw it. No matter if Ning Fan went to issue a mission or submit it, he would have a lot of Tao crystals on him. If he tricked Ning Fan into going to the casino, he could probably get a lot of Tao crystals. Ning Fan looked at the Taoist fraud speechlessly and said indifferently, "Thank you for leading the way. I just happen to have some spare money. I want to try my luck at the Immortal Fortune Casino." He took the bait. The old Taoist fraud did not show any joy on his face, but he was overjoyed in his heart. "Ha! Watch how this poor Taoist will squeeze you dry, you little fat sheep." Chapter 704. The old Taoist enthusiastically led the way for Ning Fan. Along the way, some of the cultivators who had been deceived by the old Taoist stared at him in silence. As for those who knew the old Taoist's background, they looked at Ning Fan with sympathy. They knew that Ning Fan was the next fat sheep that the old Taoist had set his eyes on. No one reminded Ning Fan not to go to the gambling house. The old Taoist had the entire Immortal Fortune gambling house behind him, and one of the 3 life immortals in Shaoza's star was behind it, Fortune Master. No one would risk offending a life immortal for an outsider like Ning Fan. When they arrived at the Heavenly Fortune gambling house, the gatekeepers looked at Ning Fan with a strange expression when they saw him walking with the old Taoist. "Thank you for your hard work, Taoist Qin." The gatekeepers cupped their fists at the old Taoist politely. During this period of time, the old Taoist had deceived too many fat sheep and earned a lot of profits for the gambling house. It was only right for them to thank him for his hard work. "Ha! It's not hard at all." The old Taoist revealed a knowing expression and smiled at the gatekeepers. Then, he brought Ning Fan into the gambling house. As soon as they entered the gambling house, many cultivators shifted their gaze to the old Taoist and Ning Fan, who was behind him. Their gazes towards Ning Fan were filled with a strange expression. Ning Fan ignored them. He knew very well whether his luck was good or not. His eyes swept across the gambling house with a slightly surprised expression. The gambling house of the immortal world was indeed different from the gambling houses in the mortal world. The gambling houses in the mortal world were nothing more than Pai Gao and Sieve. However, immortals did not gamble on these things. There were 2 things that immortals gambled on: fate and luck. The Immortal Fortune gambling house was an open-air gambling house that occupied hundreds of acres of land. There was a golden wall in the middle that divided the gambling house into 2. The gambling house was not big, and there were tens of layers of immortal formations around it. Anyone who dared to make a move in the gambling house would end up in a miserable state. The gambling house in the Western gambling house was about luck, while the gambling house in the Eastern gambling house was about fate. What was gambling? To put it bluntly, it was cutting stones. Cutting divine chests. There were many divine chests that were passed down in the ancient times. Some people who were proficient in the Tao of gambling could determine the type of divine chests based on their appearance and qi. Divine chests were divided into more than 10 categories, such as military chests, beast chests, medicinal chests, scriptures chests, and ominous chests. Different types of divine treasures would seal different things. For example, the weapon vault usually sealed primordial mystical weapons and magic treasures used by ancient fiend gods. There were strong and weak divine weapons, good and bad magic treasures, intact and damaged. Whatever divine weapon or dharma treasure they cut out depended on their luck. Of course, a little bit of stone cutting experience could also be used, but most cultivators gambled on their luck. There were adult demonic beasts as well as demonic beast eggs in the beast vault. If there was a need for demonic pets or mounts, he could collect them and try his luck. What was sealed in the medicine treasury were all spirit herbs. There were spirit herbs that were millions of years old, and there were also spirit herbs that were tens of thousands of years old. Sealed in the scriptures were all kinds of ancient fiend god cultivation techniques. Some were strong, some were weak, and it all depended on luck. Is it the vault of death? Ominous treasure was a general concept, and any bad thing that appeared could be considered a ominous treasure, and there was no way to distinguish it. Someone once cut out a true immortal realm ferocious beast from a beast vault, causing the deaths of countless people. That was a ominous treasure. Someone once cut out a highly poisonous medicine from a medicine treasury and killed several life immortals on the spot. That was also a ominous treasure. Someone once cut out a bloodthirsty devil weapon from a weapon vault and sucked the blood essence of all the cultivators who gambled at the scene dry and killed them. That was also a ominous treasure. If one did not get any benefits from cutting out a divine treasure but only a disaster, it would be considered a ominous treasure. The old Taoist priest enthusiastically told Ning Fan about the rules of stone cutting. Ning Fan, on the other hand, was a little absent-minded. His spirit sense had already drifted to the East gambling house. The West gambling house gambled on luck while the East gambling house gambled on life. There were many ways to gamble with one's life. For example, two people would fight to the death. The winner would obtain a large number of Tao crystals while the winner would also obtain a large number of Tao crystals. Another example would be to challenge the life and death formation door. There were 4 formation doors. 2 of them would survive and the other 2 would die. If they succeeded, they would live and get the money. If they failed, they would lose their lives and die. Is this the gambling game between immortals? Fate. Ning Fan's eyes were blank for a moment. The gamblers in the gambling house might seem stupid, but which cultivator wasn't? When cultivators cultivated the Tao, didn't they have to gamble with their lives and luck to find a way forward? Gambling wasn't funny. Every cultivator in the world gambled and Ning Fan was no exception. His stake was his life. What he wanted to win was the happiness of the woman behind him. Why is fellow Taoist looking at the East gambling house? Could it be that fellow Taoist wants to gamble with your life? You can't do that. The old Taoist priest tried to dissuade Ning Fan. If he gambled on luck, he would at most lose all his money but his life wouldn't be in danger. If he gambled with his life, he would die in the East gambling house if he was unlucky. Although the old Taoist priest wanted to cheat Ning Fan of his money, he didn't want Ning Fan to die. His dissuasion made Ning Fan's brows twitch. He gave the old Taoist priest a meaningful glance. This old Taoist priest still has some conscience. Fine, I won't pursue the old Taoist priest's crime of cheating me. Don't worry. I won't gamble with my life. At least, I won't gamble with my life for the Tao crystals. What's worth me risking my life isn't the Tao crystals. Ning Fan said indifferently. Hee. I'm relieved that fellow Taoist thinks like this. Gambling is just for fun. Even if you lose all your Tao crystals, it's just for fun. If you lose your life, it's really stupid. Hee. Let's not talk about this. What kind of divine chests do you want to cut? Different types of divine chests were classified and placed in the same place. At this moment, there were many cultivators carefully cutting the divine chests that they had bought with the Tao blade that was specially made by the gambling house. Ning Fan thought to himself. Even though he had good luck, it wasn't a wise move to cut the stones with his luck alone. After all, there was still a technique to cut the stones. And that technique was in the abilities of each cultivator. Ning Fan's demon and devil blood was of the ancestral grade. Even if he stood far away, he could faintly sense the grade of the bloodline of the demonic beasts and devil beasts in the beast chests. Those with high-grade bloodline were naturally rare beasts. Those with low-grade bloodline were naturally second-class beasts. However, Ning Fan could only sense the bloodline of the seal beast in most of the beast chests. He could not sense a small portion of them. Those that he could not sense were the divine beasts of the divine race. Ning Fan's divine blood was not of the ancestral grade. Thus, he could not sense the quality of the divine beast's bloodline through the divine chests. On this star, Ning Fan was the only one who possessed the ancestral great demon and devil blood. With this, he could easily identify rare demonic beasts and cut out precious divine chests to sell them in exchange for Dao crystals. I've decided. I'll cut it. Before Ning Fan could say the two words beast chests, exclamations of surprise suddenly resounded from the crowd of cultivators in the distance. Incredible. Truly incredible. This young master has cut out another 300,000 years old spiritual herb. Tisk tsk tsk. He only spent 10,000 Dao crystals to buy this piece of divine chests. However, the spiritual herb he cut out can be sold for 400,000 Dao crystals. He's making a huge profit. It's nothing. This young master has just cut out a piece of divine chests that is worth 20,000 Dao crystals and got a 600,000 years old spiritual herb from it. That spiritual herb can be sold for 2 million Dao crystals. Following the exclamations of the crowd, Ning Fan shifted his gaze and saw a petite young master who was choosing the divine chests. Rather than calling her a young master, it would be more accurate to call her a girl dressed as a man. That person was dressed in green robes. He was wearing a secret treasure that could disguise the chi of a man. However, Ning Fan's bewitching technique was so powerful that it was impossible for him to not be able to tell the difference between a man and a woman. Not only could he tell that this was a young girl, but he could also tell that this girl's appearance was peerless. She was a true beauty. He also recognized that he had met this girl before when he entered the city. He remembered that the young girl was a 6th revolution pill refinement master. He remembered that the girl had a life immortal protecting her, so she must have a powerful background. Many void fragmentation realm old monsters glanced at the young master greedily. Of course, they were not interested in the young master's body but the various ancient medicines in his storage pouch. Behind the young master, a black-robed old man's eyes suddenly flashed. His mid-human profound realm aura force dispersed and all the void fragmentation realm old monsters' expressions changed drastically. Life. Life immortal. This kid has the protection of a fate immortal, just where did he come from? I don't know, but there's no doubt that this child's background is extremely great. With the protection of this life immortal, we must not do anything to this kid, otherwise, our lives will be in danger. Killing is forbidden in this Shaozi star, but to a life immortal old monster, there's no place that they can't kill. The group of void fragmentation realm old monsters were terrified. None of them dared to have any evil intentions towards the young master. The green-robed young master turned his head and glared at the black-robed life immortal and said unhappily, "Uncle Wei, don't release your aura force recklessly. You're disturbing my medicine soul. I can't even tell which divine chests contain good medicines." Cough cough. This old servant deserves to die. This old servant will stay quietly at one side and no longer release my aura force recklessly. The black-robed life immortal smiled apologetically. This old servant. This title made countless people turn pale with fright. What kind of great force could enslave a mid-human profound realm life immortal? It must at least be a true immortal force. That fair and tender young master was actually an important disciple of a true immortal force? We can't offend him. We absolutely can't offend him. At this moment, even the 3 life immortals who were secretly observing the security of the Shaozi star through the immortal formation were shocked. They wouldn't dare to offend a disciple of a true immortal force. The background of this little ancestor is really too great, a disciple of a true immortal. Ning Fan murmured to himself. He was also very interested in that young lady. That young lady's cultivation base was only at the 4th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. However, her medicine soul was terrifyingly strong. Her pill refinement realm was already very close to the 7th revolution. That lady's bone age was less than 8,000 years old. Her cultivation base and pill refinement realm had already reached such a level. As expected, the disciples of a true immortal force weren't mediocre. That lady's true identity must be an outstanding figure among the younger generation of the Eastern Heaven, this is it. Uncle Wei, lend me your Dao weapon again. I want to cut the stone. Yes. The black-robed life immortal immediately raised his palm and summoned a fiery red flying knife. The temperature of the flying knife was terrifying. It was the temperature of the great Dao. If this flying knife hits a person, even an early human profound realm life immortal would be burnt to ashes on the spot. Dao weapon. Is this the Dao weapon that only a few immortals have? Tisk tsk tsk. A great Dao weapon. After refining it, it is much stronger than an immemorial divine weapon. The young master took the flying knife and bought a medicinal treasure worth 100,000 Dao crystals. Then, he slowly cut it open. Everyone's hearts were in their throats. They wanted to know what other rare spiritual herbs this young master would get. This time, it was a divine treasure worth 100,000 Dao crystals. Could it be that he would get an ancient herb that was 1 million years old? Old Daoist divine fraud looked as if his father had just died. He wanted to cry but had no tears. No one knew that this young master was also a fat sheep that he had tricked to cut the stone. A fat sheep. He was a fat sheep. Damn it. I wonder how many rare spiritual herbs he had taken from the gambling house. Big loss, big loss. This time, he would definitely be severely punished by Master Luck. Ning Fan did not care about what the young lady got. What he was more concerned about was the Dao weapon in her hand. Dao weapon. Ning Fan also had a great Dao weapon. His Dao weapon was the memory-severing Dao sword. It was the Dao of memory. It could sever people's memories. Judging from the tone of the cultivators here, a Dao weapon was an extremely rare immortal weapon even among immortals. However, a Dao weapon still needed to be refined seriously in order to unleash its great power. Ning Fan's memory-severing Dao sword seemed to have never been refined before and he did not know how to refine a Dao weapon at all. If I have the time, I should look for some methods to refine a Dao weapon and turn my memory-severing Dao sword into a powerful Dao weapon. In the future, a Dao weapon would certainly be a great help when he faces powerful life immortal realm enemies. As for immemorial divine weapons, they seem to be really outdated. Unless they were divine weapons made from high-grade star iron, only then would they be helpful to Ning Fan. This is. After the young master made the last cut, the eyes of countless cultivators at the scene became as hot as fire. This time, what the young master's ancestor got out was not a single spiritual herb but an entire spiritual root. A spiritual root that was filled with immortality peaches. It was the legendary immortality peach tree. More than 10 life immortal realm cultivators flew over from all directions. They had long been paying attention to the situation here. They already knew that this young master had a powerful background and they could not afford to offend him. They also knew how mysterious this immortality peach tree was. They came here just to buy 1 or 2 immortality peaches from this young master with Dao crystals. As soon as he saw so many life immortal realm cultivators, the black-robed life immortal realm cultivator immediately became nervous. He took half a step to the side and protected the young master behind him, afraid that someone would attack him out of greed. The 3 life immortals of Shaozi realm including Master Yun chuckled and took a few steps forward. They cupped their fists at the black-robed life immortal realm cultivators. You don't have to worry. We will never attack the people of the medicine sect. We don't have the guts to do so. These life immortal realm cultivators had already seen through the young master's background. Thus, they naturally did not dare to offend him. Medicine sect. As soon as they heard the name of the medicine sect, all the cultivators at the scene were shocked. There were 2 great pill concoction sects in the Eastern Heaven immortal world. One was the pills sect while the other was the medicine sect. In recent years, the strength of the medicine sect was vaguely above that of the pills sect. It was already showing signs of becoming the #1 pill concoction sect in the Eastern Heaven. The sect master of the medicine sect was very mysterious. He had always been elusive and elusive. Outsiders did not even know his real name. However, there was once a true immortal realm force that offended the medicine sect. Half a year later, that true immortal realm force was annihilated by 19 true immortals. It was said that the 19 true immortals were hired by the sect master of the medicine sect. The scariness of the medicine sect was evident. The black-robed life immortal realm cultivator was slightly relieved when he saw that the true immortals knew what was good for them. However, he still had his guard up. On the other hand, the young master had a leisurely expression. He waved his hand and said, "Uncle Wei, don't be nervous. Before I left, my master gave me a 9-revolution death-chasing pill. Whoever kills me will be crazily avenged by my master. They won't dare to touch me. My master is the sect master of the medicine sect. 9-revolution death-chasing pill." A few of the life immortals gasped. Some of them gritted their teeth and erased the trace of killing intent in their hearts. The death-chasing pill was a tracking pill. If the user of the pill was killed, the concoction master would know who the killer was. There were high and low grades of the death-chasing pill. If it was the 9-revolution death-chasing pill, even if a true immortal harmed the young master, the sect master of the medicine sect would also know. This young master was the only disciple of the sect master of the medicine sect. The sect master of the medicine sect valued her very much. If someone harmed her, he would definitely do his best to avenge her. We wouldn't dare. Why would we attack the disciple of the sect master of the medicine sect for an external object? A few life immortal old monsters smiled embarrassedly. The young master wasn't interested in their attitude at all. She walked around the peach tree 3 times and examined it with the power of her medicine soul. After that, she remained silent. After a long time, she retracted her medicine soul and revealed a disappointed look. It's just a 3,000 years old peach tree. A 3,000 years old peach can delay the heavenly tribulation for 3,000 years. It's not that useful. Not that useful. Not that useful. Each of the life immortals was speechless. How could a heavenly material and earthly treasure that could delay the heavenly tribulation for 3,000 years be useless? If those life immortals who had gone through countless heavenly tribulations didn't have the confidence to pass the next heavenly tribulation, they could live for 3,000 years by just eating a peach of immortality. How could such a life-saving treasure be useless? However, a 3,000 years old peach of immortality was only useful to life immortals. It was indeed useless to true immortals. Perhaps the young master was speaking for her master when she said that it was useless. "TSK, I'm tired. I don't want to play anymore. Uncle Wei, please keep the immortality peach tree. Let's go back and rest." "I'm so tired." The young master stretched his back comfortably. Under the sunlight, his pure little face was as bright and beautiful as the first warm sun. The life immortal with the surname Wei didn't dare to be slow. He immediately put away the immortal peach tree. He could only show a helpless expression towards those life immortals who wanted to buy the immortal peaches. His little ancestor didn't seem to want to sell peaches, so it was useless even if these people wanted to buy them. Who asked his little ancestor to never lack money? The most stingy sect master in the world was the most generous to this little disciple. Every year, a red packet would be worth hundreds of millions of Tao crystal. All the disciples of the herbal sect knew that their eldest senior sister, Ouyang Wan, was the fairest, richest and most beautiful woman in the herbal sect. Why is it you? You also want to cut divine treasures for fun? Are you here to cut the medicine and hide it? Quickly cut it for me to see. Ouyang Wan suddenly saw Ning Fan, who was standing behind the crowd, and revealed a bright smile. Ning Fan was startled. He didn't expect that a girl whom he had only met once would remember him. The eyes of all the old monsters on the scene instantly focused on Ning Fan. Who is this person? He actually knows a disciple of the medicine sect. I've seen this person before. He's the devil lord of the bloody slaughter, chaotic devil 7 stars, old devil Qian Qiu. What? The old devil who rewarded me with 30 million gold coins? It's him. Some time ago, I saw Hong Mo and the others trying to trick him in the tea house. In the end, after he left with them, Hong Mo and the others never returned. As for the two devil lords who were originally in the group of Hung Mo, they were all taken away by someone else. Hung Mo was sold to the male cauldron pavilion. Needless to say, he was the one who eliminated Hung Mo and the others all by himself. The old Taoist priest's face instantly turned pale. The little sheep that he had his eyes on turned out to be such a ruthless devil lord. That's right. Didn't I see the little sheep going to the slaughter pavilion? That's to receive the reward. The reward of the heads of two devil lords. I'm finished. Of all the people I could have tricked, why did I have to trick such a ruthless devil lord? Shameless. Shameless. Why does such a ruthless devil lord look like a little sheep? Only a ghost would be able to tell that he is a great devil lord. Oh. You're Taoist priest Qianqiu. I've heard of you before. You're quite powerful, aren't you? You even dared to eliminate the subordinate forces of the Seven Fiends sect. Hee hee. Actually, I also hate the Seven Fiends sect very much. Ouyang Nuan spoke to Ning Fan with a smile as if they were very familiar with each other. Ning Fan's expression was extremely strange. Ever since he entered the Eastern Heaven, he had never called himself Old Ancestor Qianqiu. Even when he occasionally talks to others, he always calls himself Ning Fan. Why does everyone think that I'm Old Ancestor Qianqiu? Actually, he really did not mind using his real name. After all, there were at least a few million people who called himself Ning Fan in the Four Heavens. Who would know that he had ascended from the lower world? Taoist priest, quickly cut the herbs and hide them. I'm still waiting. Let me see if you can get anything good out of them. If you can get a 1,000,000 years old spiritual herb, I'll recommend you to my master and let you become the second senior brother of the medicine sect. You'll be my junior brother who is second only to me, okay? Chapter 705. Ning Fan shook his head, declining to comment on Ouyang Nuan's words. Speaking of which, this was actually his first encounter with Ouyang Nuan. Back at the city gate, he had only seen her from afar, so it didn't really count. It was his first time meeting a person, but he was so enthusiastic towards him. It was really hard for him to bear. However, Ning Fan had to admit that Ouyang Nuan had a unique temperament that was very attractive. Her smile was like the rising sun, giving people a sense of warmth. My apologies, I already have a master and I will not be joining another sect. At the very least, he would not be joining the medicine sect as a disciple. If he had to join the medicine sect, he would do so as a guest elder. However, if he wanted to be a guest elder of a true immortal force, he should at least have the strength of a life immortal. Ning Fan was well aware of his own limitations. He would not be so arrogant as to join the medicine sect. Furthermore, he was busy searching for the immortal soul herb and did not have the time to join the herbal sect. Speaking of which, Ning Fan was the dignified sect master of the Black Devil sect. This status was not low at all. However, it seemed to be useless in the Eastern Heaven. Ah. You have a master. What a pity. By the way, how about I recommend you to be a guest elder of my medicine sect? Ouyang Nuan said with a smile. Little master, you can't. The lowest requirement to become a guest elder of the herbal sect is to have a life immortal cultivation or a pill refinement mastery above the 7th revolution. This person is not qualified. Life Immortal Wei said anxiously. Uncle Wei, it seems like you can't go against my decision. Ouyang Nuan smiled at the Life Immortal surnamed Wei. She was in a good mood. The Life Immortal with the surname Wei felt helpless. He looked at Ning Fan and smiled bitterly. Little friend Qianqiu, my little master's medicine soul is unique. She can sense the good and the bad of a person's heart. The person she hates must have a hateful side and the person she likes must have a good side that no one knows about. Young master has a good impression of you. Although young friend has a bad reputation, you are definitely not a crafty person. It's just that my medicine sect is extremely strict when it comes to accepting disciples, and it's even stricter when it comes to recruiting guest elders. Little friend, do you think about this matter regarding guest elders? Alright. Indeed, he was not strong enough to resist the eldest Miss Thai. Then, he would change his strategy and beg Ning Fan to give up on becoming the medicine sect's foreign elder. Ning Fan naturally understood what the life immortal realm cultivator with the surname Wei meant. He knows that he does not have the right to become a foreign elder of the medicine sect, but he has no desire to hug the medicine sect's thigh. This life immortal surnamed Wei seemed to have underestimated him. Senior, don't worry. I know my own limits. I will not accept the position of guest elder. He then turned towards Ouyang Yuan and cupped his fists politely towards her. I appreciate Lady Ouyang Yuan's good intentions. However, I still have important matters to attend to and I really have no intention of joining the medicine sect. These words were spoken through voice transmission. Ning Fan speculated that the reason why Ouyang Yuan hid her gender was probably because she was afraid that her gender would attract trouble. Therefore, he would not expose Ouyang Yuan's identity as a woman in front of outsiders. After hearing Ning Fan's words, Ouyang Yuan's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. At the same time, a hint of pity rose in her heart. What surprised her was that Ning Fan had already seen through her identity as a woman. It was a pity that a talented Pill Dao elite like Ning Fan was actually unwilling to join the medicine sect. It made her feel indignant for a pearl that was covered in dust. Her medicine soul was very special. It was a 5-colored medicine soul recorded in the ancient legends. She was able to repeatedly find good medicine troves because of her 5-colored medicine soul, not because her medicine soul was close to rank 7. With her 5-colored medicine soul, she could see through people's hearts. With just a glance, she could tell whether a person was good or evil. She could tell that even though Ning Fan was not a kind person, he was not a cunning person either. Forget it. If you are unwilling to join the medicine sect, I will not force you. How about we become friends? My name is Ouyang Yuan and your Dao name is Qianqiu. Could it be that your real name is also Qianqiu? Ouyang Yuan asked using voice transmission. Friends? Ning Fan was stunned. He had a lot of women but he had very few friends. Ning Gu was his younger brother. They could not be considered as friends, right? In terms of friends, Mu Luo was one. Lu Haoyue was one. Wu Chen was also one. As for the rest, there seemed to be none. Forget it. Since you are unwilling to be friends with me, let's just forget about it. Ouyang Yuan did not act pretentiously and replied him using voice transmission with a faint smile. Ning Fan. Ning Fan replied and walked towards the small garden that was filled with medicine troves. No matter what, he could see that this lady did not have any evil intentions towards him. Her medicine soul was very powerful. He could not read her mind through the mind-reading technique. Also, he did not want to do that. Since this lady kept wanting to watch him cut the medicine troves, he might as well cut a few. His medicine soul was not as powerful as Ouyang Yuan's 5-colored medicine soul. However, his luck was better than hers. After hearing Ning Fan tell her his real name, Ouyang Yuan revealed a warm smile. She quietly watched him choose the medicine troves but did not say anything to disturb or help him. Pieces of gigantic bluestone were piled up in the small garden. All of them were divine chests. The price of each bluestone was clearly marked on it. The lowest price was 10,000 while the highest price could even reach 10 million. Ning Fan walked in the small garden and touched each bluestone with his palm. However, he did not spread out his medicine soul to sense them. With the level of his medicine soul, it was impossible for him to sense the spiritual herbs through the seal of the divine chests. His medicine soul was not the legendary medicine soul from the ancient times. It was not that powerful. He closed his eyes, and wisps of black light of providence gradually rose around his body. Ordinary cultivators could not see the light of luck. However, those who could enter the heaven-grade trading city would not be ordinary cultivators. Black luck. It's the worst luck. This young man's luck is so bad but he still dares to cut the divine chests. Master Luck looked at Ning Fan with a strange expression. After all, he was the one who opened this immortal luck casino. After running a gambling house for his entire life, he had seen all kinds of cultivators, including cultivators with bad luck. There had never been a cultivator with bad luck who could win half a Dao crystal from the gambling den. They had always suffered a huge loss. From his point of view, if Ning Fan, this unlucky cultivator, cut open the divine chests, he would certainly not get anything good out of it. Instead, he would just be wasting his money. Normally, a life immortal realm expert like him would not pay attention to a junior at the 7th broken realm like Ning Fan. If it wasn't because he could tell that Ning Fan had a close relationship with the disciples of the medicine sect, he would not care about what color Ning Fan's luck was. The other old monsters on the scene also looked at Ning Fan with strange gazes. The life immortal with the surname Wei, who was standing behind Ouyang Nuan, shook his head speechlessly. It's actually bad luck. Ouyang Nuan's eyes flickered with surprise. In her opinion, Ning Fan should not be a person with extremely bad luck. Her senses had always been very accurate. After all, her 5-colored medicine soul was very sensitive. She firmly believed in her intuition. She firmly believed that Ning Fan would be able to find out something unexpected. Uncle Wei, do you also think that he will lose money like the others? Of course. He has bad luck. It wouldn't be strange for him to get 100-years-old spiritual herb. He might even get a dangerous treasure. As soon as the life immortal with the surname Wei mentioned the word dangerous treasure, the expressions of all the cultivators on the scene including the life immortal realm experts changed and they hurriedly retreated. It was really hard to say. Since Ning Fan's luck was extremely bad, the possibility of him getting a dangerous treasure was definitely not small. Perhaps many people here would die because of Ning Fan's dangerous treasure. Ning Fan closed his eyes and walked across the small garden. His palms touched the blue stones one after another. Cutting the medicinal chests could only depend on luck. Firstly, he had no experience and secondly, he did not have a powerful medicine soul. With his purple luck, Ning Fan would have a mysterious feeling in his heart when he passed by some blue stones occasionally. Every time that happened, he would open his eyes and pay the Dao crystals to buy the medicinal chests. Along the way to the end of the small garden, Ning Fan had already bought 17 medicinal chests. Among them, the cheapest one was worth 50,000 Dao crystals while the most expensive one was worth 10 million Dao crystals. This young man is really generous. Is he actually going to cut 10 million divine chests? Cough. No matter how rich he is, he can't be so wasteful like this. He has bad luck. The 10 million divine chests that he has chosen definitely won't have anything good. Is he going to cut the stones now? He won't really get a dangerous treasure, will he? Voices of discussion spread in the surroundings but none of them could disturb Ning Fan's state of mind. Looking at the 17 blue stones in front of him, his expression was as calm as an ancient well. He was the one who chose the divine chests. Even if all of them were to suffer a loss, he would not care at all. Since he had chosen the path that he wanted to walk on, he must have the courage to bear all the consequences. To cut the stones, he would need to buy a blade of Dao power that was specially made by the Heavenly Fortune Casino. Each blade cost 500,000 Dao crystals. Ouyang Nuan released the power of her medicine soul and sensed the 17 divine chests that Ning Fan had chosen. Her tranquil and small face gradually turned solemn. There was even a hint of disbelief. This place actually has such an item. Why didn't I notice it before? Did I miss it? Ouyang Nuan let out a faint sigh and wiped away the frustration on her face. She walked to Ning Fan's side and turned around to instruct the life immortal Wei. Uncle Wei, lend me your Dao weapon. I will help him cut the stones. Dao weapons belong to the cultivator themselves. They were born because of the Dao. Outsiders could not take them away. They could be lent to others. However, as long as the cultivator willed it, it would return to their body. The life immortal Wei smiled awkwardly and took out a fiery red flying dagger. He did not want to show off his Dao weapon too much. However, since the young master had instructed him to do so, how could he refuse? You want to help me cut the stones? Ning Fan's eyes turned slightly solemn as if he had noticed something. His gaze swept across the 17 blue stones. Trust me. Yang Nuan's eyes also turned slightly solemn. Ning Fan seemed to have understood something and gave Yang Nuan a grateful smile. He knew that Yang Nuan wanted to help him. Therefore, even though he was heartless, he would still give her a kind smile. Ning Fan raised his palm. Traces of the power of memory formed in his palm like wind and snow, turning into a small black golden sword. At the moment the small sword appeared, even the life immortals present were shocked. Dao weapon. This kid's cultivation base is only at the 7th Shatterer level, but he has a Dao weapon. This is the second step in 10th realm. This child actually cultivated the power of concepts to the second step. The life immortal with the surname Wei was also shocked. He had always been proud of the fact that few life immortals of the same level as him had a Dao weapon, but he did. Now that they saw Ning Fan actually had a Dao soldier, how could they not be shocked? To be able to possess a Dao weapon before becoming an immortal, which one of them wasn't a person with shocking aptitude? Previously, he had underestimated Ning Fan. With such a high aptitude, why can't he be a guest of the medicine sect? This is your Dao soldier. Yang Nuan's mouth was agape. With her status and experience, it was rare for her to be so surprised. Okay, I'll lend you the stone. Ning Fan passed the small black golden sword to Yang Nuan. Since she treated him with sincerity, he would naturally return the favor. Receiving the small black gold sword, Yang Nuan caressed the ice-cold body of the sword. She realized that this Dao weapon had not been refined. But when he thought about it, he felt that it was normal. Refining a Dao soldier required at least a life immortal's cultivation. You don't mind embarrassing yourself, do you? Yang Nuan revealed a sly look. I don't mind. It's fine as long as I don't lose my life. Ning Fan's words carried a deep meaning. He knew that the divine chests that he had chosen must contain some extraordinary items. If it's a grave, it would certainly kill countless people, including himself. If it's a treasure tomb, there might be some extremely rare and precious ancient medicines inside. Cutting it open in front of everyone might cause too many people to hunt him down. Yang Nuan wanted to help him avoid cutting the divine chests. Both of them were not related to each other, but Yang Nuan wanted to help him. This was what made Ning Fan sigh with emotion. It was also what made him feel grateful towards Yang Nuan. Then I'll cut it open. I'll cut this one that's worth 100,000 first. Yang Nuan raised her hand and the small black gold sword turned into a black sword that was 3 feet long. She did not cut the stone carefully like how she usually did. Instead, she directly cut the green stone into 2 with a slash. Chi with a slash of the sword, all the spiritual medicines inside the divine chests were cut into 2 pieces. Their medicinal chi rapidly flowed away. Countless cultivators were shocked by Yang Nuan's shocking method of cutting the stone. Ning Fan, however, was not surprised at all. He shook his head helplessly. Sometimes, luck is really unreliable. The spiritual medicine that was destroyed by Yang Nuan was a stock of 100 years old spiritual medicine. Naturally, no one would feel sorry for the destruction of this kind of spiritual medicine. One of the treasures was actually a 100-year-old spiritual herb. Each of the old monsters looked at Ning Fan with deep sympathy. This was the black luck. Spending 100,000 Dao crystals only to get 100 years old spiritual medicine. How pitiful. Next, the one that's worth 50,000. Chi another slash of the sword. A stock of 1,000 years old spiritual medicine was cut into pieces by Yang Nuan. Cough cough. 1,000 years old spiritual medicine. This kid has lost another 50,000 Dao crystals. When Yang Nuan saw that Ning Fan's expression did not change, she smiled and continued to cut the stone. Next, the one that's worth 200,000. Chi 500 years old spiritual medicine. Next, the one that's worth 500,000. Chi a 10,000 years old spiritual medicine. Next, not long after, Yang Nuan had cut open 11 medicinal chests. There were only 6 left. Among the 11 spiritual medicines that she cut, the oldest one was only 20,000 years old. I'm not cutting anymore. I'll return this Tao weapon to you. It's useless to cut it again. As for the remaining 6 medicinal chests, I'll keep them as souvenirs. Ouyang Nuan returned the small black golden sword to Ning Fan and winked at him in an unnoticeable manner. Ning Fan understood her meaning and nodded his head, keeping the remaining 6 medicinal chests into his storage pouch. The others looked at Ning Fan with sympathy. He had spent more than 10 million Tao crystals, but all he got was a pile of trash spiritual medicines. As expected of a cultivator with black luck, he would definitely lose every bet. The remaining 6 medicinal chests are not ominous treasures. You can cut them in a place where there's no one around. Don't let anyone see you. Otherwise, even a true immortal might kill you and snatch your treasures. Ouyang Nuan then said to Ning Fan using telepathy. Thank you. Ning Fan cupped his fists to express his gratitude. Ouyang Nuan returned his gesture with a smile. Your luck is really good. Perhaps it's because you appeared here that your luck interfered with me. That's why I didn't notice the existence of that thing. However, the Tao of luck doesn't necessarily mean that the higher the luck, the better. Sometimes, things will go in the opposite direction when they reach an extreme. Just like what happened today, you might get yourself into trouble by relying too much on luck. You have to be more careful in the future, Tao Master Ning. Ning Fan thanked Ouyang Nuan again for her reminder. Ning Fan knew that she was right. Luck could help Ning Fan cut out some good items. However, if his luck was too good, it might cause him to cut out something too precious in front of everyone, which would make those powerful cultivators jealous and fight for the treasures. This was the calamity brought about by luck. The Tao of the world. Things will always go in the opposite direction when they reach an extreme. It's just like luck and life. The two extremes of life and death are life and death. The end of life is death while the end of death is life. This is the life and death in the cycle of samsara. Transcending the cycle of life and death and attaining immortality, there's no end to this longevity. If immortality is destroyed, it means eternal death and there's no way to reincarnate. Things will go in the opposite direction when they reach an extreme. Ning Fan's heart was filled with enlightenment. Ouyang Nuan, on the other hand, showed a bored expression and wanted to leave. Do you still want to continue cutting the stones? If not, I'm not going to watch anymore. I'll be leaving first. I still want to cut some beast chests. Ning Fan nodded his head. He did not forget his original intention. Wasn't the purpose of coming to the casino to earn money? Most of the 6 beast chests were rare herbs. They could not be sold casually. If he wants to earn money, he could not count on those 6 beast chests anymore. Beast chests. As soon as Ouyang Nuan heard his words, her eyes immediately lit up. She seemed to be very interested. Then, continue cutting. I want to see what interesting things you can get from them. However, you have to be more careful this time because I don't really know how to distinguish between good and bad beast chests. If you get another rare beast chests, I'm afraid I won't be able to help you conceal it. It's alright. I still know a little about the pros and cons of beast chests. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Fan walked towards the small garden where the beast chests were placed. Each of the void fragmentation realm old monsters was speechless when they saw Ning Fan still daring to cut the stones after losing more than 10 million Tao crystals. 10 million Tao crystals was a huge amount of money to a void fragmentation realm expert. No matter how rich Ning Fan was, he did not need to go against money, right? He clearly knew that his luck was bad, but he still wanted to cut the stones. He was really not turning back until he hit the wall. Perhaps, this was the psychology of gamblers. The more they lost, the more they wanted to fight and the more they would lose. The life immortal realm experts at the scene also shook their heads slightly. They looked down on Ning Fan's determination. As a cultivator, there was no harm in gambling one's luck or one's life. However, the biggest taboo was not being able to afford to lose. Being unable to afford to lose meant that this person's determination was too weak. How could the path of cultivation be smooth sailing? How could one win every single time? If one does not have a strong heart and accept failure calmly, it would be very difficult to reach the peak of the path of cultivation. While everyone was thinking about it, Ning Fan had already bought a beast chests worth 1 million Dao crystals and started to cut the stones. Ning Fan knew what he would get from the stones with his ancestral blood. He was not worried at all. The old monsters at the scene, however, shook their heads and sighed. There's no need to look anymore. This young man must have thrown the Dao crystals into the water again. Perhaps he might get a small vein opening realm beast from the stone chests. Ning Fan closed his eyes and cut the stones. With his ancestral blood, he knew the location of the demonic beasts in the divine chests. He held the small black golden sword in his hand and cut the stones at an extremely fast speed. The others were worried about him, afraid that he would accidentally cut the beast chests to death. However, he was not worried at all. Very soon, the stone clothes were completely cut off. As expected, many people guessed the beginning of the beast chests correctly. They guessed that the small beast in the beast chests was a small vein-opening realm beast. However, no one guessed the ending correctly. When they saw the cute and obedient furry beast sleeping soundly, everyone was shocked. When Ning Fan carried the furry little beast into his arms, the Immortal Cloud Casino was already full of discussions. True blood demonic beast. It's a true spirit seed with a pure bloodline. This beast has just opened up its demon veins and has never awakened its blood. It is already a beast with true blood. If it goes through 3 rounds of awakening its bloodline might even reach the king grade. This beast is very likely to become a king beast in the future. Speaking of which, what kind of beast is this? Why have I never heard of it before? This is. I recognize this beast. This beast is an extinct ancient true spirit, Ling Xian. What? It's actually Ling Xian. It's said that once it goes through 9 rounds of evolution, it will dare to feed on true immortals. If we can keep this beast as our demon pet and raise it until it goes through 9 rounds of evolution. Each of the life immortal realm old monsters stared at the white furry ball in Ning Fan's arms greedily. Ning Fan was straightforward. After cutting out this beast, he did not plan to keep it. He also did not have the patience to spend hundreds of thousands of years to raise it until it goes through 9 rounds of evolution. The reason why he cut out this beast was just to sell it for money. 100 million Dao crystals for this beast. He asked for a price that shocked all the life immortal realm experts present. 100 million. 100 million is enough to buy such a promising demonic beast. Even though this beast might not be able to awaken its king-grade bloodline, and even if it does, it might not be able to complete 9 rounds of evolution, spending 100 million Dao crystals to buy a possibility was still worth it. Just when a few life immortal realm experts wanted to buy this beast, Oh Young One stared at the white furry ball in Ning Fan's arms and said in a low voice. That. This little thing is so cute. I want it. Can you sell it to me? Swoosh. As soon as Oh Young One spoke, the few life immortal realm experts who wanted to buy this beast sighed and did not dare to compete with her. How would they dare to compete with the medicine sect for this beast? You want it? Ning Fan was stunned. After thinking for a while, he directly handed the furry ball to Oh Young One. If you want it, I'll give it to you as a token of my appreciation. If it wasn't for Oh Young One, Ning Fan would probably get into big trouble from the medicine vault. Ning Fan disdained to ask for this 100 million Dao crystals from his benefactor. Among the beast vaults in this place, there were plenty of beasts that could earn him money. Giving one to Oh Young One was not a big deal. Are you giving it to me? Oh Young One hugged the furry ball lovingly. When she looked at Ning Fan, a hint of a smile reached the bottom of her eyes. Then I won't stand on ceremony and accept it. This little furry ball is so cute. Let's call it Ning Xiao Qiu and call it Hairy Ball for your nickname. What? The life immortal realm expert with the surname Wei was shocked. As far as he knew, there were countless men who wanted to curry favor with her. However, his little ancestor had never accepted any gifts from any man. She actually accepted the thing that Ning Fan gave her. Was it because she really liked this little animal or? Ning Fan was speechless. It's enough to just call that ugly little fellow Harry Ball. Why did she call him Ning Xiaoqiu? His surname is Ning. Is Yang Wan trying to humiliate him? This lady can't be that bored, right? Does she like him? No way. Even though this lady has a good impression of him, she doesn't have any feelings for him. At most, they are just friends. Is it just a prank between friends? Forget it. So be it, Ning Xiaoqiu. Oh right. Isn't that old ancestor Qian Qiu a cultivator with bad luck? How did he manage to get such a powerful beast vault? Could it be that today is the day when the heavenly secret officially moves to the east? It's the day when people with bad luck like us can make a comeback. The old Taoist priest kept pinching his fingers and calculating with a puzzled expression. That's not right. That's not right. The heavenly secret is still intact today. It hasn't moved to the east. How did this little fat lamb manage to get such a valuable beast vault? The old Taoist priest looked at Ning Fan with a puzzled expression while some life immortal realm old monsters fell into deep thought. Did you step on dog poop when you went out today? The old Taoist priest suddenly pointed at Ning Fan and asked with a nervous expression. That's right. It must be Ning Fan who stepped on dog poop when he went out. If that's not the case, then he must have made a huge mistake in calculating the heavenly secret. The reason why the old Taoist priest swindled and deceived people for so many years was because of his flawless calculation. If he really miscalculated the heavenly secret once, he would be wrong every time in the future. It's over. It's all over. I hope it's not a mistake. Stepped on dog poop. Ning Fan looked at the old Taoist priest speechlessly. If he really had to step on a pile of dog poop to get lucky once, he would have no idea how much dog poop he would step on in his life. Ignoring the old Taoist priest, Ning Fan continued to choose the beast vault. The old Taoist priest, on the other hand, raised his head and laughed heartily. He gradually regained his confidence. That's right. This little fat lamb just got lucky once. It shouldn't be the second time. The heavenly secret will move to the east in an instant. He won't get lucky twice in a row. I want this. Ning Fan bought another beast vault at the price of 2 million Dao crystals. The old Taoist priest's heart immediately jumped to his throat. Those life immortal realm experts, however, looked at Ning Fan seriously. No one disturbed him while he was cutting the stones. All of them noticed that Ning Fan did not choose the beast vault because of his luck. It was his divine ability. This young man has the ability to distinguish the quality of the beast vaults. Swish. Swish. Ning Fan rapidly cut open pieces of the stone. At the moment he cut open the stone, the chi of a ferocious beast that was comparable to a life immortal realm expert spread out from the divine vault. It was a flying beast that was shrouded in bloodlight. Its face could not be seen clearly. Without saying a word, Ning Fan hurriedly retreated to the back of the life immortal realm experts and said indifferently. I'll sell this beast for 100 million Dao crystals. Those who want it will have to capture it first and then pay for it. This is the true spirit blood goose. All the life immortal realm experts immediately held their breaths. Their eyes were filled with excitement. Immediately, 3 early human profound realm old monsters made their moves to capture that ferocious beast. Even though the beast was only at the early human profound realm, its speed was not any slower than a late human profound realm expert. It was an excellent mount. Ha! No one is allowed to snatch this true spirit blood goose from me. I'm going to buy this beast. A mid-human profound realm short old man whose body was covered in blood chi casually tossed a storage pouch to Ning Fan. There were 200 million Dao crystals inside. Consider the extra money as a reward for you. I've set up a reward of 100 million Tao crystals to search for the true spirit blood goose everywhere. However, I couldn't find it no matter where I went. This beast is compatible with the cultivation method that I cultivate. If I ride this mount, its speed will definitely surpass the human profound realm. Those who are not ghost profound realm cultivators can forget about surpassing me in speed. No one is allowed to snatch this beast from me.